they start to go on the other side of the road. And
this suspect, or perhaps suspects.
We're trying to figure out
All right.
what this suspect or suspects are wanted for. But we do know, Gia, our producer, was telling me that the suspect was seen tossing things from that vehicle.
Ladies and gentlemen,
as police were pursuing.
It's going to take me a second to get the chat up.
Maybe that front.
I had to run back from the beach.
Are you seeing movement on that? It looks like maybe they are.
I had to run back from the beach here to do this police chase. Hold on.
A little bit, you know, it might just actually be the rim, but you never know. We're going to work on finding out if police have used any spike strips in this case. Of
course, I don't have this tweet loaded.
There to me, it's hard to fully make out with that black rim on that tire, but you do see the driver there.
Don't know what the one is. It's supposedly a stolen vehicle. Hold on a second, people.
But again,
I'm way behind.
Don't know if other people are in that car.
Not prepared for a police chase. I had to run back from the beach.
Listening to the rules of the road.
I gotta get all these tweets out.
Through these intersections,
get the stream up. Not as easy as it sounds.
Remain behind it.
And I counted 5.
K-Cal on the call.
Out, right? It's a very
Black Dodge Charger.
For sure. But whether or not that wheel or wheels are impacted in any shape, form, or fashion.
Almost there. Just joining us. Hello. How are you? Police chase Sunday night. 8:26 p.m. here in Los Angeles. About to get this out on the main. Okay. We're live on the main. I'm going to go get so I can see the chat.
Just going through intersections. It is a very crowded area right now. I see a lot of traffic. Not too many people on the sidewalks right now, so that's fortunate. But right now, you see the chopper light overhead and multiple cruisers directly behind.
Can you see me now?
This,
okay.
Suspect's vehicle. And
how we doing?
Soon we'll see how long it keeps going right now as they sort of just.
Where are we? We're in Southgate. Of course we are.
Right now, not going terribly.
Of course, all roads lead to Downey. You know, why would we not be in Southgate? Didn't even realize we were there. Black Dodge Charger, stolen vehicles the one. Sorry, I had to run all the way back from the beach, so I'm sweating my ass off over here.
Also is able to have those.
Every time, what did I tell you? Every time I go to the beach, the moment I touch the sand,
what I'm saying is you do see that they have.
The moment I touch the sand, there's a police chase. Every time I want to have spaghetti with meat sauce, police chase. I can't live my life in peace without there a police chase being on.
Red and blue sirens there. Dave, can you
all right. Boogity, boogity, boogity. Let's go chasing, everybody. Let's reset here for a second. We're here in Southgate, 8:28 p.m. Sunday night. Stolen vehicle is the one. Suspects supposedly armed. Supposedly armed. Allegedly armed. Oh, God. It's the worst part is it's just when you when the sun sets. There's always a police chase. You just put your butt in the sand. There's a police chase. I go 3 weeks ready for a police chase, and they don't happen.
Originally wanted to stop this car.
Where is my wrist brace? That's probably why I'm so cranky.
And then it progressed into some kind of armed robbery.
Okay, K-Cal's on the call, but it's not Desmond Shaw. That's Dave Avila on the phone. They always bring him in on the weekends when we don't have Desmond. Do I need to make myself a little smaller? I think I might.
I'm not real sure.
When it comes to armed suspects in this
appreciate everyone that has been resubscribing to the channel.
When we call you in
I need my wrist brace.
So far over the last couple months, we haven't had that type of scenario with armed suspects. How do police tend to handle this? Because we've seen they're not necessarily backing off, but you obviously have to wonder about the safety of both people in the area and, of course, of police officers in this case. So
kind of cruising around here, aren't we? In the middle of Southgate, Downey, Norwalk, East LA, off the 110, 605 potentially.
You know, one of the things that we consider here with the option of considering is the pit maneuver. Now, usually, we don't pit armed suspect because of the closeness of the two vehicles coming together.
And I was listening to the scanner. They did not authorize a pit maneuver before media went live. So pit has not been authorized yet. And now you're hearing Dave speak about why they don't pit armed suspects.
And knowing that they have weapons. So you got the air unit overhead. So what they'll do now,
he sounds like me. That's all old people do.
Which I do like. I mean, there's some pursuits where we'll do the tracking, but if there's others like this that we definitely don't want to that the suspect is out.
Yeah, and Dave, we're getting word from our assignment desk right
Yeah,
now.
we're just driving right now, but a passenger did pull over, do an ejectocito, and I think the passenger is in custody. This suspect's still on the run here in Southgate as we continue along. Not dangerous speeds, a 3-star chase for the want, not because of the recklessness of the chase. Even though we are now on the wrong side of the road, headed towards a red light. That is across a median here as we approach an intersection. Night sun blasting from above.
Was over the pursuit, but as I mentioned, it started about
Girl Sports Addicts or Camelot, Casey Led 7, B Smitty. So many people in the chat resubscribing to the channel. Appreciate it. As always. Can't get to every single one of you guys, but I do notice.
The median, crossing to the other side.
I would say it's the least dangerous pursuit of the year as we continue to go on wrong side of the road, going through intersections, but there is some relative caution
here. They don't
here.
expect this to be happening right in front of them, but that is why those black and whites are important.
Did I do a boogity?
Exactly.
Boogie! It's been a while since I've heard Michael Waltrip's voice. Is NASCAR on a break right now because of the Olympics? I would think so.
Keep that black and white right on them. You know, there's so many different factors.
Let's go chasing. Now 8:30 prime time on a Sunday. I should have known better. No living your life at 8:30 p.m. That is prime police chase time.
We now know it's a Grand Theft Auto.
Oh, Daryl, sorry. Did I say Michael? Too many Waltrips, man. Daryl Waltrip.
But again, the officer safety too. That's why we kind of hold back on negotiating the pit maneuver. So, you know, we consider the speed.
DJ Ryerson returns with a vengeance in the chat. Drop it in 5 more tier 1 subs, W's in the chat for our most generous community sub gifter. As always, delivering commercial-free entertainment for you guys. Appreciate it, as always.
In these pursuits, and granted, it is what looks to be a residential area where perhaps a lot of people could be out and about right now, and not exactly going as fast as is typical in these scenarios. So at least on the one hand, that's a good thing.
Have I ever been in traffic with a chase going by? Of course. Is the Pope Catholic? Live in Los Angeles. Just be outside and you'll see one go by you.
While still staying close enough to perhaps execute a pit maneuver or maybe a spike strip down the line. It sort of seems
NASCAR's back next Sunday.
Good. Right now between safety and also trying to stay within a reasonable range of the suspect or suspects.
Still going here. Relatively calm chase, but this is not tracking mode like it was earlier. That's for sure. We are engaged in this one. Potential marathon chase. I don't want to jinx it, but it's been a while. We are in Southgate, Downey, Norwalk. Of course we are, because all roads lead to Downey. This is the mecca of police chases on planet Earth. If you're not from the United States, get used to it. We have police chases here, and they all end up in Downey, California.
One of the things that I've had people ask me before is just, why can't we block the vehicle in? Why don't we block the
One is, yes, a stolen vehicle.
It's not outlawed with the LAPD pursuit policy.
Plus maybe being armed as well.
And so, and with this right now, it's a warm night, even though luckily we don't see that many pedestrians out there. I don't see people walking down the street or crossing the
Every time I say that, it does. I knocked on wood, though.
Fortunately, exactly, we have that in our favor.
Oh, the chat wants, okay, sorry. Chat, I forgot I'm using display capture on OBS now. That's why it's so smooth, as opposed to window capture. But if I leave the mouse on the screen, it's going to pop up.
Yeah, he continues.
Stop yelling at me to move the cursor.
These intersections, and that alone.
Oh, put it more in the middle of the screen. Okay, sure. There you go.
Rate of speed, just because
I can use it as like a telestrator. I'm the czar of the telestrator. Fran.
Here, I did see a few moments ago there were people on some of those scooters.
Not Fran Priscilla. I almost called the czar of the telestrator. Fran Priscilla instead of Mike Fratello.
Is always a concern. You see, that was a
still going.
Just blew through that intersection.
Doesn't look like 50 miles an hour.
Riding along that sidewalk, and you just worry about all those factors. As you know, those sergeants who are calling these pursuits, they're worried about that as well, or they take that into account here. I'm hearing that we may be headed towards the LAX airspace, so that may be difficult for our helicopter here, but that won't be the case for LAPD, correct, Dave?
And I can play, what's funny is I can play tennis for 2 straight hours, full speed, anaerobic activity. But if I run half a mile, I am exhausted. I can't run a half a mile aerobic. I can do all the anaerobic activities in the world, longer than anybody. But if it comes to running just half a mile, Boy, oh my.
People
Intersection? There's people in the intersection. That person can't see that there's cops coming, just casually walking through the crosswalk as if nothing was coming his way. There are red and blues flashing. Clearly, sirens are on as well. And that person was just out for a little 8:35 p.m. stroll.
As this person is just continuing to
No.
lead this.
Are you kidding me?
Lead officers.
Everyone's asking about
There,
pickleball
and
in the
that's
chat.
when it truly gets dangerous. But
That
you're
is
mentioning that,
for real boomers.
LAPD will be able
Play
to-
real tennis,
to keep
not
up with
fake
this
tennis, not wiffle ball tennis.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's why they went ahead and they're just going to hold back right now. They might be trying to get some information, more information on.
No Ileana Moreno. No Desmond Shaw. It's Sunday night. Most of our A-list aerial journalists are not on Sunday nights. We get like Julia Dang at NBC potentially, but they'll do Mike Rogers from the desk. He might not even be on either. That's why we get Dave Avila calling in on the phone here with KCAL. So the studio plus Dave Avila is like the third shift if we're using hockey analogies. The third line.
Or it's any additional danger to the public.
Before I ask you my next question here, Dave, I just want to give a quick recap, just in case anybody might be joining us here as we hit the 8:30 mark.
Yeah, pickleball is for people who can't play tennis.
Kind of keeping an eye on this car right now. Look, it's slowing down a bit.
Okay, that was a red light. Look at that white Dodge Charger on the right side of the screen. It was going in reverse because he was in the middle of the intersection, almost hit the car right behind him. Domino effect of this police chase going on. Even though it's not hectic, it is causing some issues here on the road. Night sun blasting from above. LAPD airship overhead. 40 miles an hour. Still on Firestone Boulevard in the Southgate area, doing circles around this same spot. Had an ejectocito before we went live with the stream.
From these details and this information, as this pursuit is still very active at the moment, and to Leslie's point from a couple minutes ago,
Kay Schroeder says, got some meatballs in Rayo sauce in the crock pot. This was meant to be, let's go. Let's go, Jason. Spaghetti with meat sauce and a nice sunset is almost guaranteed to create a police chase. Every time I just want to get out of the apartment, go to the beach. There's going to be a police chase. You can almost guarantee it. Every time. Every time.
Officers' mindset of what could be going on.
You sit around all day waiting for a police chase, there won't be one for weeks.
Trying to run out the clock, though, obviously that is incredibly difficult when you have a chopper overhead and multiple cruisers in pursuit. Or is this a matter of they're perhaps looking for an avenue to get on
Sunday night
on the freeway? Or
those of you just joining us, I'm going to repeat myself, so I apologize, but we have viewers coming in throughout the broadcast, especially as we continue towards a marathon chase. This is an alleged stolen vehicle, armed as well. We've had an ejectocito. We've been in tracking mode. Pit maneuvers, not authorized, possibly now, but especially not with all this traffic on the street. They can't be pitting cars. Those of you who don't know what a pit maneuver is, PIT stands for Pursuit Intervention Technique. That's where they drive up to the right or left, back left or right quarter panels. They drive through it. They turn the car around in an attempt to stall the engine. No, we do not have the grappling hooks like they do in the state of Arizona. However, if you go as far east as San Bernardino County, I say we like I'm part of the police chasing. The state of California, and that county specifically, does authorize helicopter pilots, helicopters, I should say, to take out the engines of cars via sniper. But we've only heard of it. We've never seen it, but we've heard about it. And we've seen it, I think we've heard and or seen it authorized once. But you have to get all the way out to San Bernardino County for that. And we are not there just yet because we are in Downey, Norwalk, Southgate, California Avenue, making left-hand turns here through and around traffic.
Intersections where he's supposed to stop there, but he is leading police on this pursuit here. It is interesting, though, how slow this vehicle is going.
Wrong side of the road. Sorry, guys, I'm getting over
or I should say the
getting
suspect.
over
We don't know if it's
jet lag slash Europe slash whatever I caught. Everyone else, everyone's down with something right now. We got COVID going crazy here in Los Angeles. Maybe I had COVID. Would explain my raspier than usual voice. I'm naturally mucusy and nasally, but I sound a lot better today than I did yesterday.
I have to wonder what that was.
40 miles an hour is that's accurate. Top right corner of your screen.
Suspects throw out of the vehicle. Did you hear anything about that, Dave?
No, I haven't, and I was trying to contact some of the people up at Air Support just to see if they could relay anything on that, but,
Yeah, I can't believe they let those triathlon swimmers swim in the Seine. I was just in Paris too. That's like letting people swim in the Hudson River.
Not anything out of the ordinary.
Athletes were coming down with E. coli today. That's through another stop sign. Oh, look at that. We have a clout chase going on here. On the sidewalk, someone out there waving them on. We're starting to get people out on the sidewalks like we do here in LA. If you're not from the LA area, if you're from another country, if chases go long enough, they start getting on television like they are right now. When they start getting on television, people start exiting their house if the chase is nearby, and they start watching from the sidewalk. And they start instigating and getting their phones out and getting involved in the chase. That is not recommended, but it's what people do. Part of the reason is because you have so many helicopters buzzing overhead that people naturally, it's so loud and your apartment starts shaking if you have a low-flying helicopter that you want to go outside and see what's up. And then you see other people there and they start saying there's a police chase, and if you get one going by you, it's like being in the middle of the Macy's Day Parade. You're going to sit there and wave them on. Can't blame anyone. I just certainly wouldn't recommend it.
Screen or something else. It really is devolving into what almost feels like a bit of a war of attrition, given the
more people on the side of the road there watching the chase go by. We should start selling tickets. Downey, California should start selling tickets. Have designated police chase watch areas, like a grandstand paddock at the F1 track. Because Downey's got chases every day. $25 cover, you could sit here and watch the chases go by.
Anywhere where there could be potential danger, because typically in pursuits like this, you would have cars flying at 60 plus miles an hour, but right now it's been, I would say on average, anywhere between 30 to 40, and just kind of that weird balance of not following the rules of the road, but also not doing anything overly egregious when it comes to the driving aspect of this pursuit.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, every pursuit is continuing.
That's all people do.
Supervision.
Old people. Once you start hearing it, you'll never be able to stop. It's so annoying.
The risk outweighs the need to continue the pursuit. And when it comes right down to it, it comes down to
hard left turn in the intersection.
The public. Obviously, that's why I believe that they're staying with it. They're not going to. They haven't decided to track.
Someone in the chat said, "Add police chasing to the Los Angeles 2028 games." United States would crush.
And we talked about this before, Dave.
That would be such a great event, and LA is perfect for it. You use Downey, you have the LAPD chasing around cars, see how long they can survive without getting pit, spike stripped, all the above, without getting into an accident before they voluntarily ejectocito.
I would lean towards quite often.
You could do a decathlon. You could do different types of police chasing events, like avoiding a fur missile, ejectocito through an alley, finding a parking structure. Downtown LA, getting rid of the helicopters with the skyscrapers. There's so many different challenges you could try and accomplish.
The main streets did hit some small ones, but when they
spikes, yeah. And then you do the other side. You throw the spike strips as there's a car barreling down the street at 40 miles an hour. Can you get out the spike strips without being run over? A Frogger challenge across the 405 during rush hour. Paul Walker challenge, Katy Perry challenge.
That's what it feels like. Like this person is.
I could go on for days. I just made a decathlon right there in a couple of minutes.
Just because of how slow the vehicle is going and has been going, but it hasn't been the case just yet. We've seen this car hover around 30 to 40 miles per hour. Sometimes
that was a decathlon in one chase.
Of course,
find a Denny's
without caring if other vehicles.
All right, we're still engaged here. This is not tracking mode. My video is blocking it. There is a police officer in pursuit. I'll put myself over here.
Pedestrians
avoid traffic.
Really go slow through these intersections. So you wonder, why continue this pursuit? You know, at some point it definitely.
Pursuit suspect possibly armed is the new lower third graphic here.
Yes, and I understand that, and I do get that quite a bit actually. And it comes right down to, if we were to allow suspects to commit crimes against individuals, and then at one point we say, okay, that's it. And we do that. But when we pull off, there's always, we're still monitoring the suspect's location and actions. That's trying to de-escalate the situation. But this is totally different because this suspect, it's a GTA suspect, possible weapons involved. So this has gone up as far as priorities. But no, I do understand when people ask me, Dave, why don't we just pull off and we can just get later?
Yeah.
So, well, there's a significance to that, and that is safety.
We're just doing laps around this area, by the way. Maybe that's why they're not engaging in it, because it's not completely reckless.
I've mentioned it before. I like the light on there.
We're joyriding right now.
And it's warning people up ahead.
Yeah, you see someone with a stroller on the sidewalk there.
Yeah. The other point, in case anyone is just now tuning in, there's you see one, then you see two cruisers there. That we've counted 5 so far as we zoom completely out. There's 3, there's 4, and then a 5th one was
Original
just
warrant,
behind.
stolen car.
It's a significant response to what is going on right now. But
If
it also goes
you're right,
back to Dave, to your earlier point,
who said it in the
about
chat?
The fact that you're sort of hanging around the same area, an area.
Dingle My
perhaps,
Berry says, roll out the spike
suspect is
strips.
Familiar with, potentially waiting for an opportunity.
Yes,
to just,
Dingle My Berry.
Stop the car and fly.
We
out.
know
We've
if they
seen
stay
that
in the
before,
same area, this does
where
present an
suspect
opportunity
vehicle
for
just
officers
pulled off into
to
a
start
neighborhood,
picking
ran
corners
behind folks'
and
backyards,
Or ran into a home.
betting
Right.
that if they're making circles, that at some point they're going to come back to a certain intersection, they can have spike strips ready to
Perimeter
go.
was set up. That ultimately, then I almost want to go back to an earlier point you said and just sort of reiterate it or ask you again, which is to say, with this many vehicles in pursuit, I think a natural question that perhaps a viewer could
Jupiter
have is,
Jazz says,
why
shout
not
out to
have
KLove35,
one of the
gifted me a
cruiser
sub last
vehicles
stream.
in the
Didn't
back,
get the chance
maybe
to say thank you,
3,
homie.
4, or 5,
Thank you to
try
everyone who
start
gives out
inching
subs
ahead
in
and
this
try and
community.
box,
Sure, the recipients
suspect's
are
vehicle
thankful.
in, either with that spike strip or a pit
Oh,
maneuver, something like
allegedly
that. Is it just a
armed.
different procedure?
I don't know if
Just
that
wait and see
necessarily
what's going on,
changes
or
the
is it
spike strip strategy. It may influence the pit maneuver strategy, but not particularly sure. Different jurisdictions, different rules, but we're on a side street right now going really slow.
In a textbook pursuit, you have 3 vehicles, 3 black and white. You have the primary, the secondary, and then the third would be a supervisor. Now, depending on the nature of the crime, the ranking officer in the pursuit, in the primary pursuit vehicle, or the supervisor, which is now the incident commander in a pursuit, can request additional
Someone said
units
pray
if
for
you
fur.
have Additional, if you have multi-suspects and they
Pray
will
for
be
fur.
armed,
You guys want a fur? We haven't seen a fur missile in a long time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 units in pursuit. Going right underneath the helicopter here, doing a great job of keeping the night sun on top of it. The night sun is important. The night sun is important because when you approach an intersection like you're doing just there with all those pedestrians on the side of the road, the night sun will alert some people ahead of the chase that it's headed towards that there's some danger coming. It's bright as shit. Look at all these people on the side just staring at this. He keeps doing circles, you'll get some notoriety. Here in Downey, California, people will start coming out onto the sidewalks.
Will they continue to ride this out? By now, I feel like most of the time we do see.
Wait, we got W's in the chat. What happened? York Bison. I had a feeling. One of our generous community sub gifters. W's in the chat for York Bison as always. Much appreciated, York. It's good to see you, as always. Everyone tell Rusty Bucket's wife hi.
But every department's different. I've seen
Hi,
sheriffs before with
Rusty Bucket.
suspects,
Mrs.
weapons
Rusty
involved.
Bucket.
And they actually pitted, but it was on a freeway, and they stopped the traffic. It was totally clear. With this here, it's like we had mentioned earlier. It's a Sunday evening. People are out.
Officers getting awfully close.
I'm looking at the pursuits and
Officers getting awfully close. Are we setting up a pit here?
maybe thinking about
Small streets and.
Are we pulling over? No, we're hitting the
For a
gas.
second, David, it looks like the vehicle's just avoiding some more traffic. It was one of those narrow
Red light.
residential streets.
Red light.
Parked on both sides.
Well, we saw the last chase, what happened when we went through an intersection at a perpendicular red light. The stars aligned. We had avoided it for so long.
Once again,
A horrific crash that sent someone on a
this is
Tony Hawk 720 into a building. Thankfully, was able to get out of the vehicle.
Of this pursuit so far, which is you accelerate a little bit, you get up to about 40, 45 miles per hour, and then it starts slowing back down again. The suspect starts going down to what is typical speed around this.
Coming to a right-hand turn here.
These types of roads.
Carl's Jr.
Avoiding traffic, making another right turn, a left turn. It's not quite.
Not quite a Denny's.
Not quite doing the same motions around the same exact streets, but we've been in the same area for a prolonged amount of time.
VOD is available on my channel.
Behind the entire time, and as most recently we were mentioning that we saw 5, we counted 7 as just a couple of minutes ago. So it really, the best way to describe it is a steady pursuit right now that hasn't really changed in the last few minutes.
No.
I don't believe you. Unfortunately, B, I don't believe you.
The other units in the vicinity are paralleling the pursuit. And what the air units are doing is the air units usually...
What? Going down an alley.
The suspect now going through an alley there. I don't mean to cut you off, but that's the first time we've seen that person drive down an alley here. And you wonder if they know where they're going. Is this alley going
Is there an exit?
To end here? Is it going to dump?
There are birds all over the place in the air here.
The alley here.
Is there an exit? Yes.
Looks like they're going to keep going.
There is an exit.
Gotten out the other side.
They're on Gage and Middleton here now in the Southgate area, and will just continue to push on as we've seen all for the last 45 minutes here. Dave, what's interesting to me is we do see the suspect slowing down, speeding up. I kind of wonder, are they making calls? Many times that's what we see, right? Police authorities are able to
K-Love 35. How many did you just drop in the chat?
Family, correct?
10 tier 1 subs going out from K-Love 35. Whoever just complimented him and said thank you, he must have heard you because 10 more just went out. Everyone's asking K-Love 35 for free subs, and he delivers. K-Love, you were too generous. I take a different strategy to that, but it's nice to see the generosity. Left-hand turn as we continue Southgate.
There is a lot of communication with the supervisor.
1 year and counting, Jay Rich.
What's happening in the
that's a marriage in many cultures.
On the wrong side of the road. That's not every once in a while.
And just making that circular motion now, at least it seems that way. You're coming again into these narrow, more residential.
Next parlay hit. I'm giving out subs.
It limits the range of motion, obviously. And you're getting into these even tighter situations.
Don't be betting parlays.
Now you have even
going through an intersection here. That was a red light. At least we're cognizant of traffic, unlike the last chase.
On the side of the road, and it heightens the fear, right? Because you don't know if this suspect's going to hit someone. The only solace in that so far tonight has been the fact that they haven't been going terribly fast, and it's really just
little mini night sun outside the driver's side window of that 592 unit.
Especially given the fact that they're possibly armed, and it really sounds like
Big Daddy in the chat says, with a first-time watcher, he's terrified of dogs. Why are you rooting for a fur missile then?
Any potential spike strip, any potential more
fur missiles are the most terrifying dogs on the planet.
Toward these suspects is held off by the fact that they could be armed.
York Bison, 5 more subs going out. Shout out to York Bison. You guys are way too generous tonight.
Just a little bit ago that when this suspect made a right
says we want dog. We all want dog. I just want to say he's a good boy. I see Skip. I miss Skip. Skip would be the worst fur missile ever. Because he's got the speed, he's got the athleticism, he's got the... Gas station. What are we doing in a gas station? Are we just pulling over to get gas with the unit right there?
Into a gas station here. It looks like the driver is
either
parking, stopping, ejectocito, ejectocito across the road. Oh, it felt like it for a second. Now we pull away and we're off again.
And I did notice that as well. Our producer telling me, you notice that drone in the sky. I have to wonder
drone?
if that is an LAPD drone.
It could be a Nightcrawler drone.
Someone's drone.
That could definitely be a Nightcrawler drone. That would be the evolution of night crawling.
So that is the civilian drone.
Yes. Night crawlers have evolved into drone coverage.
Please do not interfere because their airships fly rather
Right.
low.
Obviously keep the drone below the helicopters.
But you can see the driver went into a gas station here.
But night crawlers, as opposed to catching up in their van, just launch a drone and get the footage from right above it. Like a GTA view. We have civilian Nightcrawler drones.
That was going to be the moment where officers were finally going to put an end to this pursuit and perhaps apprehend whoever.
For those of you that don't know, go watch the movie Nightcrawlers. It's about stringers, news stringers. People who get news and sell it to news stations themselves as independent contractors.
Right now, this is a very dangerous situation as this suspect continues gets
some
to a
construction there,
area here,
going around the cones.
now onto the wrong side.
That's a Norm's. That's not a Denny's. That's a Norm's.
The shopping center here,
You got to find Denny's, bro, not Norm's. Norm's is delicious.
As that vehicle makes its way through a parking
Oh
lot
God,
now,
there's no way this has an exit.
alley, a very narrow alley that is.
In an alleyway. This feels like Ejectocito, especially if it turns his lights off.
Right, yeah,
He can't think he's going to be able to get away. There's a unit right behind him and a night sun blasting him overhead.
The other thing slowing them down, aside from the fact that
What is wrong with you people in the chat? What is Norm's? How do you not know what Norm's is?
Streets and traffic. I mean, right there, we've had so
You
many-
Zoomers need
so
some
many
culture.
close calls in the last
Los Angeles'
right now.
finest
It's almost
diner
surprising that,
institution.
and grateful that nothing has happened, that you haven't hit a person, that they haven't hit another person's car or anybody in this within this last hour. But the speed bumps too.
Double night sun.
slowed down.
Double night sun outside the passenger and driver side of the that 589 or 529 unit in front.
Avoiding traffic and going through intersections and stoplights at that, we can call it manageable speed, but really it's just we're still going at this point, and it's a wonder really as to when it'll end.
And on the other side is a reality of what's happening. You saw an ambulance and a fire truck on
Yeah,
the
it's just
other
LA
end,
Waffle House.
as a pursuit is also happening on that same street. So these are just the conditions to show you how dangerous this can be as emergency crews are trying to handle emergencies outside of this situation.
Lucky that was a green light.
A pursuit or someone that simply
Doing
will
some
not
decent driving. We're still 3 stars
that
here because of the
stop
want and them
here.
possibly being armed. This
And
is not
what's
tracking
happening
mode.
last
There's
time
7
is
units in
that
pursuit
they noticed,
just in the
Home
southeast
Front,
corner of your
we're
screen.
watching all this
Right
unfold
below my
They noticed
my
that
video
this person
box.
is pretty much going in a circle. Looks like they're going in a circle from East LA, Huntington Park to Walnut Park. And
No, that's not true.
continuing
East Coast
on in
living
circle,
gives you
which is
real
why you
delis,
have
not real
citizens
diners.
leave, surface streets
I
in
put
this
Norm's up
area
against Waffle House
and
any
just,
day.
make their way into gas
And Denny's, of
stations,
course. But that's a
into,
national chain.
Parking lots, shopping centers, and now driving again on the wrong side of the road. Very dangerous, especially given the
We're
fact
still
that
in Southgate, by the way. We've been on Pacific Boulevard, Firestone Boulevard, Florence Avenue. Every time we do a chase in Downey, get used to Downey Boulevard, Florence Avenue, Pacific Boulevard, all the same streets. There's a police chase here every day. You could just get a lawn chair out, put it on the corner, and watch the police chase.
Location, and really this primary location. You haven't gotten on a freeway. You haven't left this area. We have multiple cruisers in pursuit. Does it feel as if you're just the suspect or suspects are just sort of buying time or just waiting out the inevitable in this case, which is to say there's really no way that they're going to be able to get away, and also it doesn't even look like they're really trying to.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I mean, I believe that's exactly what they're doing. They're just buying some time. They may be talking to some of their friends and trying to get some type of escape plan, like it's going to work, and it's not. But, yeah, I think that's what it is. And they're, at first they were staying on the big street, but they're going between a couple of cities. So they're familiar with that area, which is pretty obvious here. But it's just something that's going to continue.
Need a Downey studio. Coming to you live from Downey, yeah? You just have to, the problem is chases are so unpredictable. You can't just sit around all day waiting for one. You might be waiting weeks.
That will be time in jail. I guarantee you.
Look at all those units. They will not be giving up on this one, not with that many units engaged in this. Sometimes these drivers get lucky that it happens late at night. It's on like the 5 northbound going away from the city, and the units say we got better shit to do and we're just going to let this person go and try and catch them later based on the license plate, and they'll go to the address.
Yeah,
This is not going to be one of those cases. as we have
even
evolved
noticed it come
into
to your
a
neighborhood.
clout
As
chase.
you mentioned, that is very dangerous for police safety, for that crew up there in that helicopter that does fly rather low. You can see
group
the
of people,
spectacle
yeah.
that this has become for some people there standing on the street here. But I'm not sure if we can widen out here. I did see many more police cruisers. I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 now. Not that much more. I think at most we had 7. At most we had 5. Now we're seeing 7 LAPD cruisers as this suspect continues to basically drive in a circle around this neighborhood and what feels like, you put it, Gio, trying to buy time, knowing that police are eventually going to take this person into custody. Of course, that is
Some point.
I want to ask you, Dave, in terms of establishing
Need a cloud chase graphic.
A consistency of behavior in this case. And I know we've sort of broached this topic already in the last half an hour, which is to say, if you have a suspect who in this case has decided not to leave this particular area, be completely locked in, and you know that from the police perspective, which is, okay, they have just essentially gone in a circle over the last hour. At what point, if there is any point, given what we've established with potential...
Those people on the street getting involved in the chase, that wasn't a citizen's arrest. Oh, look at all these people on the side of the road. They're probably like, bro, pull over because we're tired of these helicopters being over our apartments. But if you live in Downey, California, you can't buy property there without knowing there's going to be a police chase every day. There are so many people out on the street right now. Look at them in between the cars. Spike strip thrown! Spike strip deployed! Missed!
It is, like I mentioned.
You see in the bottom right corner, spike strip deployed.
But it's strongly discouraged, and that says a lot.
They tried it, but they missed. This person is very aware. More spike strips. Look at all those spike strips parked on the side of Pacific Boulevard. That unit, those units over there.
I won't say it won't happen.
2 spike strip attempts, wrong side of the road is the way to avoid them. Not close enough to deploy the second ones. Front left still looks to be intact, even though I'm starting to see some, what appears to be sparks. No, maybe just reflection of the lights.
Yeah, Dave.
Go ahead.
Dave, we're getting a good look at that driver. We're hearing from our assignment desk that it's possibly a male suspect.
Look at all those people on the corner.
Able to kind of make out,
Huge clout chase going on in Downey, Southgate.
LAPD officers kind of standing on that corner, holding what looked like spike strips there. It looked like they were trying to deploy those spike strips.
The one guy tried.
The suspect, if you noticed, was all the way on the other side.
But he threw that shit like Dan Orlovsky.
Not able to do it, so you wonder, are they going to try again? And at what point?
Front left. I don't know if it's wobbly or just a shadow.
And there's that light again in the driver's side seat. You can't exactly make out what it is, but perhaps to your point, Leslie, about the spike strips, it could possibly be in one of those more narrow alleyways. It's obviously hard to tell when or if they will use one of those again, but it's certainly provided that best opportunity because of how narrow, constricted it was, and we know there was only one direction that car could go in when we saw it happen earlier.
Dave, what's making
Does look wobbly, right? I'm not crazy. It might be the shadow, the reflection from the night sun above, though.
This pursuit a bit, I would say, difficult for officers is really this driver is not that predictable. This person continues to turn when they want, when they see a street. This is the first time we're seeing them kind of just go straight for a while. Are you getting that sense as well that it would be hard to set up that spike strip given that this driver
someone in the street
is pretty much making random turns every time they get to an intersection?
Yeah, it would be much easier if he stayed in the neighborhood that he was before. Maybe he'll go back, and then you could always set an officer behind a vehicle.
U-turn.
Behind a vehicle and go that
Cross the train tracks. Don't go on the train tracks.
If he just by chance goes down that street. But that's about all you can do right now. It's just, and it looked like that's what they tried, but it didn't work. But you call it, Leslie. I mean, you said it's right now it's a spectacle, and sometimes these suspects enjoy that because they know they're going to jail. They know they're going to spend time in jail.
I'm not sure if this Dodge Charger has run flats on it.
Right now, and they're just driving around.
Those look like low-profile tires. It's hard to tell, though. Across a double median, an island median.
Yeah, just did a U-turn essentially essentially at the train track.
A lot of traffic
Just right
violations here.
around And is going down the street again. Right around
Is that right?
now,
We're up to 40 minutes. You guys want a marathon chase? You might get a marathon chase. When was the last time we had a 2-hour chase?
Necessarily exceeding it, slowing down.
We're up to 40 minutes right now.
Avoiding traffic, people. You see a group of people there down at the bottom of your screen right now, catching that spectacle. Especially
That's wrong side of the road. Getting traffic to stop as we maneuver our way
you really start getting a sense
through this
of
labyrinth
what's going on.
that is
And
Southgate,
in a way,
Downey Norwalk.
We have more people out and about. And that's something we didn't see initially, and now we've seen a lot more of as well. Going into this particular part of the neighborhood,
K-Love asked, do they get charged for the individual traffic violations in these? You know, I bet they could. But I think they get slapped with a lot worse penalties, so they just kind of forget about those. But they probably should, yeah.
It's predictable, but it's really not predictable at the same time because it's not the exact same turns, but it is all within the same area. So you're caught in this weird, repetitive loop.
Exactly. And it just shows you that they're like I mentioned earlier, they're comfortable in this area. They feel safe as much as they can. And then when the opportunity arises, hopefully he won't take off running, or they'll go ahead and just stop and just do exactly what the I'm sorry, I thought I was getting another call.
That is getting another
Go
call.
along with the officer's direction.
Ah, spike strips?
See, it looked like, were they able to deploy that spike strip there?
They tried it again.
Trying once again, this is the second time we watched them try to deploy a spike strip there, but it looks
They're trying.
like maybe it wasn't
Told you, the more you stay in the area.
But that suspect now making their way into another parking lot, another gas station. You got to wonder what they're going to do here, and it looks like they will continue on back on the roadway.
They're on the correct side of the road. There, look at those pedestrians running to the corner.
If you're just tuning in,
They're trying to chase the chase.
SoCal News at 9 p.m. I want to run down what we know so far. This is a pursuit that has been going on
Down
for an
03
hour
shooting
now.
like Clay
We know
Thompson.
It started at 47th and Main at 8 p.m. We know the original want was a stolen vehicle.
Why is the chat roasting me for my pronunciation of labyrinth? What did I say? What? What? My pedestrian! That pedestrian is pissed!
Yelling at that driver, you wonder.
Did you see how mad she was?
Stop and starts.
Look at that airtime. It looked like she was getting ready to run the 100-meter dash the way she was getting her feet up in the air.
Another person a few feet away.
Pumping her fists.
Down that street.
What we do know is that they have stayed this entire hour in this Southgate, East Los Angeles area here, pretty much going around in a circle. We also know, Gio, that we believe the suspect is armed.
Yes. And that in addition to that becomes the most important
That person was pissed. It might be a family member. We've seen that before where the family members are getting involved. Remember the one dad who got his, I think it was his son-in-law, like sat him in a computer chair and did a citizen's arrest until the cops came?
As Dave has mentioned earlier, been the most important factor with this pursuit because it changes the dynamic of how to approach these suspects, how to deal with them, because you have to keep in mind officer safety.
Big Mama,
as well, and the fact
Big Mama, not pleased.
Such
She
a
was
frightening thing,
pissed.
Safety issue that you never know if these suspects could be firing. So it's something we're continuing to monitor and still ongoing.
That's what happens when you have a clout chase. Get people on the corners, people on the streets.
Pulling off into residential streets, and there you see more and more cars as we've been noticing over this last hour, parked on both sides of the road as well as oncoming traffic, and it's something that this suspect or suspects have been able to avoid quite frequently throughout the last hour, which is not hitting anybody and otherwise not hitting cars or anything.
Right? The dad's citizen arrest was funny. The girlfriend was hugging the suspect, waiting for the cops to, goodbye forever.
Dave, we've watched them attempt to deploy spike strips twice. And then
I did not say labyrinth. Labyrinth. This is not a chat where we pronounce things correctly. You know that. I said it correctly. You just misinterpreted because of my head cold.
Yeah, listen, I was thinking the exact same thing. She had moves like she knew that individual. And then he slowed down.
Labyrinth.
And then when he drove off, she started throwing her hands and started stomping.
Let's go to the monitor.
You really see that with people that are just standing on the side of the block. So I agree. I think
Thank God I don't do radio full time.
and I think that's why he's sticking in this area. So maybe he was looking for help and they told him no. Just get out of the
Let's
car
go to
and stop.
VAR.
So
Oh, you don't need. I will not be putting this on VOD. What? Oh, that's the replay of the spike strips. No VOD, so you can't go back and watch.
If anyone's watching live here on KCAL on the right side of your screen, you're noticing this is footage from earlier in the pursuit. Again, that started right around 8 o'clock, and that was the initial attempt at,
like lab,
spike strip
lab like the dog,
two
like
attempts
Skip.
That officers
It's
were trying to
lab
do live
or
on the
Nith.
left side of your screen in the smaller box, but it's really been, you notice the consistency and the
Ganucci.
similarities, I should say, between
Ganucci.
the two sides of your screen. That's what we've been
Not
watching for
Noki,
the last
Ganucci.
hour. Has been that type of motion for 60 plus
Almost
minutes.
starts to make you dizzy because it just feels like this person is going in a circle. And for our viewers at home, if you notice
Nith.
the directions, the streets, the location on the top
Bur-
of the screen,
Lab
Nith.
Nith. Thank you, DJ Foltz. See, the chat knows.
We do know it says Southgate, East Los Angeles, but this is more. This is all happening more in the location of Southgate and Huntington Park, right there on Saturn Avenue and Benson. That is where we're watching
Ball.
suspects
So,
make
yeah.
their way down.
We don't.
More residential
We know.
streets
We
here.
do the correct
Not coming to a
pronunciations
complete
here.
Stop there. You see them
Ball.
continue on.
Labyrinth.
It looks like another
Ganucci.
neighborhood here. It's pretty dark in this area, which also definitely becomes an issue for anyone that's possibly walking or at that park. That's a very busy park there. You saw people on the tennis courts. But it looks like they're going to maneuver away from the park and head down Hood and Saturn Avenue here.
And right now, again, it gets much darker, makes it more
Right.
difficult to see. But
It's pecans also, not pecans. Pecans.
Get away. We've noticed.
You pee in a
initially
can.
When we started breaking in,
Some people just don't get it.
PD cruisers noticed up to 7 at one point.
Must have been terrible at your
avoiding
SATs.
Traffic, avoiding hitting people. The closest it's come to stopping, as you notice.
I will say the worst mispronunciation is Mario Kart. It's Mario Kart. Look at the size of that pothole, by the way. Fill that pothole in the parking lot.
Pursuit has taken place. That is something I want to draw attention to because we've noticed at least twice so far going into gas stations, seemingly stopping, only to then go through the opposite side of the gas station back onto this exact type of main road and continue the pursuit, but maintain it at a speed that is not overly fast given what is
I'm not reading the chat anymore.
such as this. Right now is about
Same
the
way
fastest
I'm
we've
not
seen
on Twitter
the suspect
anymore.
Go close to 50 miles an hour before
Salmon.
slowing
That's easy.
down
Come on.
and then making their turns.
What do you, it's not like John Salmon's. It's salmon.
Dave, earlier you were telling us that this person we know is
Dodge Charger still on the run here. Those of you just joining us here in this SAT class. Southgate doing circles around Florence. Whoa, spike strips again. Did you see spike strips get thrown out under that pursuit tree? Did anyone pick up on that? You got to be paying attention to this shit because there was cops hiding under that pursuit tree, and then spike strips appeared, and he swerved to the wrong side of the road.
Correct. But that's what I've been told, and I'm trying to get it verified, and they just haven't got back to me yet. But yeah, they're just going to go ahead and just keep following this suspect here. I agree. I mean, I think he
Just broke the spike strips ankles.
Another pursuit. They just buy time.
Keeps L1, R1 juking.
As you had mentioned, Leslie, it's expected.
0 for 4 with spike strips right now. Sounds like Klay Thompson.
Black and white, the sirens, and so they come out to see what's going on. So luckily, I haven't seen that many people, and hopefully he stays off those little streets. But
People keep asking me to pronounce things like I'm pronouncing them incorrectly. It's salmon. It's ramen noodles. It's pecans.
Yeah, we don't really know how any of these are going to play out. They never play out as we predict, but
Every
what's
chase
interesting
is
to me
different.
is that we're
Chases
noticing
breed
LAPD,
chases.
now giving
There's
the
that same
suspect
Carl
a lot more
Jr.'s.
space than we have
Carl's
seen
Jr., sorry.
within the last hour.
I almost
here.
pronounced that wrong.
For moments there, that cruiser was right on the tail.
It's
right on the
Rayo's,
bumper
obviously.
Of that vehicle. Now they look to have pulled back several feet.
And police also turned off the light on their helicopter as well. So what does that say about the state of this pursuit right now to you, Dave, and what the approach, if
This thing is still going on? Yeah, we're still out here pronouncing words correctly.
And they're just trying another, one of the tools out of the pursuit bag, and that's just trying to de-escalate the.
Yeah, it's like every single commenter that calls me woke.
Go ahead and, stop.
You're as guilty as I am.
Going on the wrong
You don't hear me
side of the
complaining.
road. But I think that's, yeah, it's always, the
Okay, intersection coming up once again.
That third vehicle or the watch.
Going through it. Oh, look at that cop running into the intersection. He ran all the way over there. Did you see that? How far that cop ran it? I've never seen this before. They've got rogue cops out there hunting, like bounty hunters with spike strips.
They're all talking and
He was in the middle of the intersection.
they said, okay, hey, we've tried everything.
What was he doing over there?
Accelerated. So let's go ahead and let's pull back and take the light off the suspect and see if we can de-escalate it. See if we can.
He's picking up 94 feet.
It's over.
Mr. 94 feet.
Yeah, we can tell you that it doesn't seem like LAPD is giving up, because I don't know if you noticed this, Dave, but they tried to once again roll out that spike strip.
They are trying to spike this guy. I don't know why they haven't authorized pit maneuvers yet. If they're enabling spikes, oh, there's a unit parked under there. Is he hiding? Is there spike strips?
Third time,
Yes,
if I'm correct,
third time that we've seen so far.
Third time they tried to deploy those spike strips, and
There was a parked vehicle that would suggest to me that there's a cop hiding with spike strips somewhere, hiding in the darkness. Sneaky. He's trying to snipe.
For these officers.
It's extremely dangerous for those officers. CHP officer was hit when he was deploying one. This is a long time ago. But I mean, it has happened. Thank God it doesn't happen that much.
Get these pursuit trees out of the way.
I know of. But yes, it's extremely dangerous. And then
Peekaboo.
I
like peekaboo. Peekaboo.
Sometimes he speeds up and he slows down. So that's why I kind of surprised.
Yeah, this would be a great, if this chase was happening in San Bernardino, we might actually see the sniper from the helicopter. But it's dark out. There's no way they would do the sniper from, they would never, from the police helicopter. They probably need to do it in daylight only. How does LAPD not have a spike strip specialist? Good question. Like NASCAR has the car jack guy, it's got the gas can guy, front tire changer guy.
Again, assuming this driver.
Someone's got to be trained in the arts, the dark arts of spike stripping.
Pivot back to so far this evening, or going on a little bit more than an hour and 10 minutes so far since this pursuit started.
That's right, Annie, too.
Still remains the same.
We are here.
I'd say is probably the most.
Still, I think we're going on 52 minutes now.
Given this pursuit, but still along the edges, driving through, avoiding traffic, construction areas as well is something we've seen. And look, it's almost like a dead end here.
Yeah.
Yes, Fur 51 asks, San Bernardino has a sniper. They have a police helicopter. They have authorization to snipe from the helicopter, and they aim for the engine to blow out the engine.
Jump on the freeway, but it looks like we're hearing another unsuccessful
spike strip?
attempt.
That's 0 for 6 now.
The video on the right side of your screen is what we were mentioning. Is that the,
yeah, I mean, they're barely getting that off the curb, man. If you want to connect on a spike strip, you're going to have to fully commit like that guy. That's the only way you're going to get a spike strip done, because this person is too aware. If you're standing on the curb, that shit doesn't go far enough.
Suspect's vehicle ends up, because this has been going on for a while now and still doesn't seem to be slowing down anytime soon. We'll see.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to be coming to a stop. I feel like they've been going pretty slow this entire time. We've seen them make their way through parking lots, through crowded gas stations. We've seen civilian drones fly overhead, which is very dangerous for those helicopter
It's that point of the chase where I pull out the poker chips.
Helicopter crews there. And we're watching this person continue to make their
I had a
way
very
through another
swingy session last
area.
night.
And at this point,
Up $5,000, down $5,000, ended up walking away with $60.
Swingy
Swingy session.
I would say desolate area. It doesn't have many people here. You wonder if LAPD
All that time for
is
just $60.
going to try a pit
I could have done
now.
anything else in the world and gotten
Much,
paid more.
Busier streets. It
And
doesn't look like that would be the case.
That's essentially what it's been leading to, is using those abandoned areas, the construction zones, the narrow alleyways,
Profit is
the
profit.
residential streets, to just find a way
You're right.
back onto the main street.
But it was one of those $60 profits where you feel great about it.
Main
'Cause you
traffic
dug
and
your
everything
way
else just sort of
all the way
waiting out the
back,
clock,
grinded your
so
way
to speak.
back.
But Dave, as you mentioned before, there's no clock to wait out here. It's really just buying more time until we all know where this is going to end. It's just
How long
hoping
did I
the
play
best
for?
when it comes to safety, because we've seen a
10
lot
hours?
of near misses when it comes to people.
Yeah, just you probably noticed this once again.
Live only, cash.
The car swerved there, and our producer
Cash,
telling us
10-20
they just
game.
avoided another spike
Cash.
strip. So that is the fourth spike
In
strip
person.
attempt.
No online.
And
Online's rigged.
unfortunately, officers have not been successful in any of these attempts, which is not
10 hours
a
is
rare
nothing.
case
I
here,
sometimes I do
but
18-hour
were you
sessions.
Surprised that none have been successful, given just how slow this vehicle has been traveling this entire time?
They're trying it on huge intersections, so there's a lot of room for him to maneuver and go around them.
Pursue trees.
And like I mentioned before, it would be really hard. I mean, I'm not sure you could just deploy some units in the side streets, blacked out, and then stand in the corner, and
Zacalax,
it's
8 months in
down.
counting. Appreciate your
That's about
subscription
the
to
only
the
thing
channel.
I could think of. I did see one black and white. Been told that they do have one black and white that's trailing him with lights and sirens.
Okay.
He's back a ways.
Okay, so
just came
they're
through.
still following him, this person there on the ground. But interesting to know, I want to go back to the spike strip. Many people may not be aware, the spike strip is what, about a car's length
There's another chase?
long,
Yes.
Dave? So you have to be very precise.
Oh, we can't
when
leave this
deploying
one.
them.
Yes.
ABC has a different chase?
You have to get out. You throw it out there, and it has a lanyard on
What?
it. So when you fling it out there, the suspect will run over it, and then the officer that had it deployed has that lanyard in.
No, they don't. You guys are always lying.
The black and white still run over it.
They're showing the same chase. No! It is a different chase!
Rip the tire open with
Ah!
gas tubes. They enter the
Hold on.
tires.
How do I get this up?
The air out slowly. It starts coming out. That way it averts any type of
Oh my god, it's on the highway.
with some they're out of control. They
Hold
slow
on.
into another vehicle. It slows them down. It's what the intent.
Hold on. Gotta get the second chase up.
It becomes a situation where, Dave, then you have that clock, right? Where if you've executed properly a spike strip, now you
Oh my
know
God.
X amount of time before that car is coming to a stop, and therefore we can close in.
Ah, it's a white Dodge Charger!
I'd say yes, but I've seen pursuits where they lost the rubber.
How do I get this up?
And the vehicle was actually on the drum, and it was still being pursued.
Yeah.
I would like to say yes.
Oh, Dave,
Ah, Ejectocito!
the vehicle there, it looks like there's
Ejectocito in this chase! He's gonna carjack!
running to this.
Oh no, it's like getting in the back seat!
And taking off.
No, it's the same chase!
Talking to this person.
It's the same chase, it's just a different car! We just did a Paul Walker challenge in broad daylight!
You wonder, when was he planning this?
And now we've
It's the same! The one on ABC was just a little ahead! And we're picking up, we're 85 miles an hour!
in this entire pursuit as now we turn a new page.
Oh, this is a 4-star chase now.
At the minimum is an
Oh, this is a 4-star chase.
And now we have new questions as to when this was planned, how it was planned. And
Hold on, I gotta get out of the other chase.
familiar area.
Bear with me.
making calls or
It's the same chase, it's just different vehicle. They were just a little ahead.
With a new suspect.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh my God.
We talked about earlier. He was on the phone, so yeah, he was talking to some of his friends and just said, "Hey,
Oh my God.
can you help me out?" And so they had planned.
Paul Walker challenge. He called in the cavalry. And now they've got multiple people in a clown car in a different vehicle. I don't know if he was running out of gas. He might have been running out of gas. He turned the lights off. The lights are off in this white Dodge Charger.
On this pursuit in this white vehicle, and now this has become a very dangerous pursuit.
The lights are off as he's picking up like 80 miles an hour. So we go Paul Walker challenge here. We ditch, we go ejectocito. Look at that speed. Look at those wheels. He's wearing high socks and Skechers. He's wearing white socks with a black outfit.
Down the street. And this is where we're at here in Southeast Los Angeles and Compton and Vernon, with at least now.
This is unbelievable.
The original suspect that we know is sitting in the back seat,
Yes.
that we believe was armed, and now the new
Allegedly stolen vehicle drop. Yellow light as we hit the intersection so hard. Oh my God.
dangerous
70 plus miles an hour without lights on. This is extremely dangerous now. And we have an allegedly armed suspect. We're approaching an intersection that's a solid red. We go straight through it.
Huntington Park, Southgate area to now we're moving out of that and speeding at an exorbitant rate at this point, because now that danger we've been talking about for the last hour and 18 minutes, now it's even more heightened given that there are more people, more cars about, and we've really heightened everything at this point, changing the entire dynamic of this pursuit, Dave.
Yeah, absolutely. This is, and now this suspect here is just speeding along. You know, some of those black and whites that we were talking about that were in the initial pursuit, you know, there's no doubt that a few of them deployed on that vehicle that he abandoned, because we don't know if there's a victim in there. We have no idea, so they're checking that out. So they're relaying that to the pursuit vehicles, the black and whites, that are now.
Oh, this is nuts.
Pursuit now this additional felony suspect.
Okay, we're watching this driver on the wrong side of the road here as they're trying to get around.
Are we in restricted airspace? Why are we so far behind the chase right now?
Right on the tail of that white car that they're now pursuing, with two suspects, at least two suspects inside. What we're being told is so far out for us here because we're going into LAX air.
No!
Which makes it very difficult for our for SkyCal here. They're not able to continue to follow it at such a close range, but they're going to try to keep our eyes on it as much as possible, especially if.
Now this
Okay.
second car
Going to NBC.
is white sedan.
Julia Dang. This should be Julia Dang on the call. 110 northbound. NBC was KCAL was a little behind, but we just got on the 110 northbound.
Freeways that were in the area, but this second vehicle, the one the driver of the black sedan jumped into in that parking lot, now on the 110 freeway, northbound on the 110. Speeds exceed
We're good. We got Julia
90
now.
miles per hour now. LAPD Newton Division still in pursuit. I can see that spot.
Juliana. No, it's Julia. But if she nails this chase, if she goes Telemundo too, she could be Juliana instead of Eliana. "110 northbound." I can't believe that we just watched the Paul Walker challenge right in front of the cops of all. Usually the Paul Walker challenge is done under an overpass. And when they ditch the cops, not with them 10 feet behind you. And that dude ran like an offensive lineman and stumbled into that back seat.
There is quite a bit of traffic.
Untied shoes. We have traffic up ahead. Traffic coming ahead as we come out of Southgate 110 northbound headed towards downtown University Park area.
This driver maneuvers around these other cars northbound on the 110.
So he probably called in help. Meet me at whatever parking lot it was. I'm running out of gas. And talk about a true friend that is now going to catch every single
I can see that other car, that red
violation,
car, veering out.
every single act of crime. What's happening? Come back to us.
Drivers, this is a
Okay, back to KCAL. The NBC cannot be trusted with their cameras.
Are erratic, and the speed
Back to KCAL, thankfully.
reaching over 90 miles per
NBC's
hour.
in and
A
out.
load of cars.
They're running their stream on VCRs.
To Leslie's point about traffic backing up as you're heading there, looks like Pasadena downtown.
Charged,
Again,
sorry.
110 north.
I can't think.
Everything
My
about
brain
this
is mush.
pursuit right now.
This person is gonna catch every single charge that
All we
the
know so far is that it is that white vehicle.
that
We
the
also saw
original guy
also
in the
is
chase
driving.
got himself. Now
So
he is too.
suspect in the initial block
We're going down together.
out in a parking lot, jump into this white vehicle, and
Unless they truly think they can get away.
It is speeding incredibly fast right now.
I don't think he ordered an Uber. No, not the way that they're driving right now. They're driving like they're trying to get away.
So far, we know it.
But you know how good a friend you have to be to pick me up,
Could possibly be more
knowing that you're headed to jail with him now?
Heading still up the
To help your boy try and get away? That is true friendship. That's some Sons of Anarchy shit.
Through the downtown area, but it looks like they'll continue on the 110.
Are we 110 northbound or south? It says south, but I think we're north. We're in downtown now. Yeah, we're north. Okay, now the graphic changed at the top of the screen. I've upgraded the chase to 4 stars because of the Paul Walker challenge. Also, possibly armed, stolen vehicle, and now a second suspect with high rates of speed approaching 80 miles an hour. There's big time traffic coming up here, all hours of the night as we approach downtown. Please do not get off downtown. Please do not get off downtown. Oh no, oh no, oh no. Okay, that's 5 northbound. Or 10, it's 5 north, 5 southbound or 10 eastbound are the 2 interchanges here. We cannot get off in downtown Los Angeles. We will lose it in the skyscrapers. 10 eastbound or 5 southbound interchanges coming up off of the 110.
The same goal here, trying to get away from.
That's what that sign said. Ah, we almost crashed.
Is now getting involved in
Almost hit that median Final Destination style.
This is essentially two.
No, we're far from San Bernardino, but 10 eastbound will take us towards San Bernardino like you saw on the traffic sign there. Don't know where we are just now. We're still downtown on an interchange. I think it might be 101 southbound, but the 101 doesn't go on much further.
Looping pursuit in the Huntington Park South.
Could have gone 110, 101 to the interchange. I don't know where we are as we continue to swerve right and left here. So many intersections.
On the 101, and that's where the danger comes in, because then you have the lanes that are merging.
Or interchanges, excuse me. I can't talk. I've lost my ability to speak. Okay, 510. I told you 5 in the 10. 5 southbound, 10. Nope. Now we swerve back onto the 101 south.
Okay, they're not going to get on the 5. It looks like they're going to.
This is going to end at some point, people, and it's going to end very soon. We're going to be back on side streets. Okay, that is the eastbound 10. Eastbound 10 is good for the chase. Eastbound 10 will take us away from traffic. No LAX airspace TFRs to worry about.
And take a look, riding the shoulder there to try to get over that Jeep. Again, just
we're on the San Bernardino Freeway, headed towards snipers.
Is kind of pushing back a little bit.
I'm about to pour a whiskey the way this is headed. Tequila.
Taking over this pursuit. You can still see the light from the
Paul Walker challenge successful while engaged. Been a minute since we've seen one of those pulled off without getting arrested attempting it in the middle of a parking lot. Nonetheless.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, keep it on there.
You see him waddle all the way into that back. Can you imagine if they actually tried to pull that off and he forgot to unlock the car and he's pulling on the, unlock the car, unlock the door. And then he caught a fur missile as a result. There's another universe that could have happened.
And they may also be, whenever
like you're up on adrenaline, you forget to unlock the automatic doors, and you're sitting there like, bro, unlock the door.
We support the ground unit, so they sometimes.
And then you see a giant fur missile come off the screen and fucking spear him like Goldberg, prime Goldberg. Oh my god, that would have been an ultimate fumble.
Keep it and go broadcast. Suspect turn off his lights. And the other thing too, we have no idea how many people are in that little white car. Because the suspect, it was number one.
Lights are off. This is not good. It's going to be hard for people driving, not knowing that there is a chase going on. That night sun needs to stay on top of the chase. That night sun will at least alert people in front of them as this guy's doing 110 miles an hour without lights on.
More dangerous situation. And it looks
are we at a half marathon? We are. We're at an hour and 7 minutes, halfway to a marathon chase. We qualify marathon chases as 2 hours.
Are they getting on the 710? Yeah, they're heading
710 towards Long Beach. Do we know about the 24-hour fitness or do we not? The 710 will go on. Oh, wait, is he actually getting off or is this an actual? Is this just a side street exit? I don't know what interchange this is.
On the shoulder there to get around vehicles.
Lights.
See it again.
The question being, today's point, all of our points so far, is that we don't know how many.
If it's a 710 southbound and we're downtown, you have about 25 minutes before the 710 will get you to Long Beach. But at these speeds, we could get there in about 15. 710 will end. You have an interchange opportunity at the 405. The 405, you can take north or southbound. But if you take the 710, it will eventually just go into the ocean.
It didn't seem like a situation.
It looks like the fog lights are on the vehicle, but nothing else.
That he did not know. It looked like the back seat almost was open for the suspect, right, as he jumped in. And obviously, they're now leading
Big
to
time
a
chase here.
very
Big
high
time chase going on.
And just like we alluded to, that that suspect's in there, the initial pursuit. He's on the phone. He's talking to some of his friends, saying, "Hey, I need a little help here. Can you come and help me get away from here?" He went down that one street that I think we all.
It wouldn't be the first ocean chase. No, it would not.
People, especially that lady that was jumping up and
There's
down.
always something different. At least he has his lights on now. It's always something different. We have a Paul Walker challenge during an engaged chase, successful attempt.
To get this pursuit over with. So, yeah. I mean, he just and they do that. I've seen them before where all of a sudden they get out of their vehicle, they run across from another vehicle.
710 southbound. Now back in Downey Norwalk, of course we are. 710 southbound on a completely different highway, by the way. We were 110 coming out of Downey Norwalk. Now we're 710 southbound. You can catch the 605. You can catch I believe the 5 has an exit as well. All roads lead to Downey. Doesn't matter what freeway you're on. 101, 110. It'll take you all to Downey Norwalk. Trap your D's in the chat. All roads lead to Downey.
Miles per hour as you're weaving through multiple freeways and lanes of traffic, turning off headlights, and just it heightens everything, right? Because we've gone from something that was, we were talking about 4 spike strips that were executed and tossed down, but then the suspects avoids them, to now a car zooming through a lot more people, a lot more traffic, and entirely, incredibly dangerous and entirely different from what we started with.
And we're heading south on the 710. That's going to take us back down the Southgate area. So
Someone in the chat says this guy loves Downey. You don't?
We don't know.
Welcome to Downey, California, the Mecca,
Jump on the 60 if he hasn't already.
the world's most famous arena for police
Looks
chasing.
like they already passed the 60 there.
Lights
It does-
off.
you're
Lights
right
are
back in
off.
the Southgate area.
This white Dodge
And if they
Charger,
get off here,
reckless
they're in
driving,
that area that
710
this
southbound.
pursuit pretty much started in the area we saw for about an hour. Our
It was a
original
black Dodge
suspect
Charger. It is now a white Dodge Charger for those of you just rejoining us. We had a successful Paul Walker challenge in a parking lot up in Southgate.
Where it looks like we're headed. But
Just
we are
some normal
still
Downey shit
on the
going on here.
710 south as we continue to follow this white vehicle. They have now turned their lights off. We know at least 2 suspects are inside. Our original suspect was possibly wanted for a stolen vehicle. And we know that officers believed that that suspect, who looked like a man when they ran from one car to this one, that person was possibly armed as well. So you have to wonder, is the driver in this car armed? What is the situation? What is the relationship? We don't know all that information, but it seemed like it could be possible that they knew each other.
And this was something that just seemed rather easy for the suspect to jump.
I kind of want a snack, but I'm scared to get up, and I need a seltzer for my throat.
From a surface
We're on the shoulder.
area,
We're kicking up dust. Look at that smoke coming out. That's not brake smoke. That's dust coming off the shoulder.
To the 101,
Lights are still not on.
to the 10, and then jumping on
Super dangerous.
710, and now seemingly going back.
I'm too scared to get up.
At least back to
The seltzer is right over there.
Started.
And so are my chocolate-covered
A lot of
almonds.
questions, Dave, that we still have. We've asked a lot of them. We still don't know the answers to many of them. But I'm curious about what you're thinking right now.
I'm too scared to get up.
The thought process
I'm gonna power
of
through.
these suspects, because this is something that we asked you about an hour ago, which is from the police perspective, trying to put themselves into the mind of those suspects. How
Go
does that
waddle
change
like your
now that
first
you've got
driver.
This wild X factor, this new variable thrown into all of this.
It's it's going to remain the same. You still want to get that suspect. Now, if you notice how the area killed its night son.
Nug Caleb says, I don't know how I missed the Paul Walker challenge. Watching a police chase people is like watching a boxing fight. You cannot look away for a second because that's when the uppercut is thrown and it ends. Everything can change in a matter of seconds. Look how dirty that side of the road is. You can see all that dust being kicked up, coming through to the camera way above here in the chopper. Pursuit combine drill is better than, yes, it's better than pursuit decathlon.
And this suspect is totally committed to getting away.
Chat asks, where did the night sun go? It's really necessary right now. The answer is the helicopter may not be able to keep up with this. If it's going 100 plus miles an hour, it's really difficult to be accurate with that night sun.
Really have pulled back, and you wonder if
and there's no units in pursuit.
escalate things. You can see in our
I don't see any units in pursuit. That might be the strategy. They might have turned the night sun off. I don't see any LAPD. CHP might have to take this over. CHP is the California Highway Patrol. LAPD was in pursuit before. Different jurisdictions require time to replace. But we know the CHP, when they take over the chase, they follow through all the way with it. They want to take it over in perpetuity. So there has to be negotiations between the jurisdictions. But we're 710 southbound. And this, maybe they're going with the strategy of letting this person think they get away, and then they roll up on them later. That's called tracking mode. But tracking mode does not work when cars go into things like parking structures and there's no ground units within 5 minutes away. That enables them to ditch the media helicopters as well as the airships overhead, whether that's Sheriff's Department, CHP, or LAPD. They can get into a parking structure and then just disappear like we've seen so many times.
Head back towards the direction where all of this started, which was Huntington Park, Southgate.
Tracking mode has its benefits because it can calm down a chase very quickly when there's reckless driving, especially at these speeds without lights on. And you can get them to kind of try and blend back into society. Think of GTA with the flashing stars. The cops are doing that on purpose, and they're keeping an eye on you. So there's an opportunity to pounce, they will. But
who knows where you're going? Maybe you're going back.
But that also means there's an opportunity for these people to get away because there's no ground units, or they could break into a house. You know, a lot can happen in those 5 minutes.
It's just the brake lights, but their headlights are off.
Yeah, we hope drivers down there are paying.
We may have an issue here as we cross Compton, and that we are going to cross the LAX airspace here in the near future, which is a bad thing. I don't know if we are east that we can go around, but there is potential that they may have to go all the way to the ocean and around, depending on where the flight restriction areas are. This is LAX landing space coming up here. Compton, Inglewood. The restriction runs east to west.
Cruisers following this? Any police following this vehicle at this time? Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
Oh, there they are. Okay, we're back engaged. It's CHP maybe.
At least one LAPD cruiser.
No, LAPD, okay.
These suspects, we know 2 suspects in that vehicle.
It could be a clown car.
And it looks like they're getting, trying to gain some ground here, right? Getting a little bit closer. But this
Potentially getting off the highway here, or an interchange.
As this
Nope.
person is going in and out of the median.
Just flicked his lights on and off. We're already down in North Long Beach. Long Beach Boulevard coming up. I haven't seen an interchange for the 405. We may have driven past it. Oh, you hear it on the newscast right now.
Correct?
Correct.
Okay, so we're gonna hit the 405.
Okay, big interchange coming up here, people. Big interchange, because if they choose the 405, this chase is going to go on for a lot longer. 405 runs all the way up to, well, it eventually connects with the 5. It can go to San Diego and Sacramento. If we stay on the 710 southbound, it's going to end, the road will end in about 5 minutes.
Just tuning in. We mentioned earlier the possibility of CHP getting involved, but you made a mention as to, how that dynamic works. And my repeat question is essentially, how does that dynamic work in terms of LAPD started with this pursuit, but now you're in a situation where everything's changed, where it's new suspect, new vehicles, now on the freeway. Where does that sort of relationship work in terms of let's take this over or pull back, or no, you keep up with it right now because you've been on it for so long?
B. Smitty in the chat says, road will end. What's that? They have a boat.
Well, I think LAPD would stay with it.
Imagine they Paul Walker challenge into a boat.
A point where,
We are technically headed to Mexico. Just saying.
As I mentioned,
We are 3 hours from the border. We are going technically south, even though A lot would have to happen. Oh, 405 interchange. I think they're headed 405. That looks like 405 north or southbound. Based on the sign, it's hard to tell in the darkness. This looks like a 405 interchange. And we're passing on the interchange. Oh my God. 405 northbound.
The LAPD will respond and tuck them up, and then they'll take them.
Okay, well, Dave, we just saw that driver get on the 405 northbound, and
okay, so now let's talk about LA geography. Coming out of Long Beach, coming up Redondo Beach, Manhattan Beach, Hermosa Beach, eventually Marina Del Rey, Playa del Rey, Santa Monica exit, and then we can eventually head through Cahuenga Pass. Am I right, people? Or is it it's not the Newhall Pass.
If I know my roadway.
It's Sepulveda Pass.
That is.
If you go past the Santa Monica Pacific Palisades exit, you hit the Sepulveda Pass to go into the valley.
Originally in right where they picked up this.
I don't know my passes. I know as well as I know my highways. It's Sepulveda. Thank you. Sepulveda Pass. It goes Sepulveda, Cahuenga, Newhall from west to east, right? Is there a Mulholland Pass?
Yeah, that's exactly what could happen because they're on the phone, they're talking now with desperation.
Cahuenga is 101. Okay, so I'm right. It goes Sepulveda, Cahuenga, Newhall from west to east.
Away from the police and not being found, but of course that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So that's what we have to look forward to here, because if we hit the pass, then there's really no exits until we get to the other side of the mountains, and those mountains could interfere with our chase.
That is the case. There is no game plan.
They have different rules on who gets to fly helicopters through the passes late at night.
That last this long. They don't have an end game here, which is probably why we're now seeing them go up the 405. They're going to hit the 110 eventually here, and we'll see if they.
Oh, and we have LAX. Fuck, yeah.
But
we're coming up to LAX.
At least 2 LAPD cruisers are still pursuing.
I think we'll be able to go over the 405. I'm not sure, but we're about to find out, as that LAX airspace is. LAX is just to the west of where we're at right now, people. Compton, if you go due west, you would be at LAX within 10, 15 minutes.
That suspect that was leading police on this original pursuit, getting out of the original vehicle, and then making their way into this car here, the white one that is now leading LAPD on pursuit. Do we have that video by chance? Here you go.
Ah, there he goes. Look at him. Look at that speed. Door's open. Oh, he's so lucky that door was open. I forgot they were rolling up on him that quickly. If they forgot to unlock the back door, he would have been pulling at the handle. He was ruined. And they could have laid spike strips at that intersection. There were cops waiting for him, getting ready to pounce, and he blasted through.
We've turned into what now we're realizing is similar to what was a lot of loops and rectangles into the same area. Now we'll see if this ends up back to where it originally started, but using all of the freeways.
Are they getting on the 110 here?
It looks like they are.
Yeah, it looks like they're getting on the 110. There you go, back on the 110.
110 northbound.
405, and this is where we first hopped on the freeway.
Okay, so 110 coming out of Compton. This will take us back towards downtown if we're northbound.
This is now a CHP pursuit. LAPD has handed things off to CHP, and you can see at least one patrol car behind this suspect. They have the light back on that airship as they are pursuing this white vehicle with 2 suspects through
CHP? Did they switch jurisdictions?
Did I see some sparks there? It looked like possibly some sparks came from the vehicle. I don't know if anyone else
like on the right
was able to see it. I don't know if maybe something was thrown out of the vehicle, but it looked like there was some sparks that
it could have been sparks because we're doing 100 miles an hour and we hit a dip on the 110.
The suspect continues to drive with their
CHP has taken over the chase. Everything changes. CHP has different rules with pit authorizations, things they can do on the highway, and they usually don't let go of chases either. And they have different helicopters. Night Sun back on this chase. They have different equipment.
just behind them right now. And we go through what has been this chaotic pursuit since the shift from the initial black vehicle in
Now we're in the HOV lane.
Park area to now this white vehicle on the freeway, which started on the 110 North, then transitioned to the 101, and then going to the 10 East, jumped on the 710 South.
I think this is a good time to go get my seltzer and my chocolate almonds.
Painting that picture, and that's just the second half. That's just this pursuit that has carried so much weight.
Stop saying this. We're delayed. This is Police Chase Live. Stop listening to people in the chat.
Dave, are you still with us here?
Spoilers, true or false, will result in an automatic ban. Because people are dumb enough to believe you.
CHP definitely get more, they're a bit more aggressive.
Okay, here I go.
Their pursuits. Is that something you think we'll see here? And it looks like the suspect is getting off on El Segundo Boulevard here from the 110 North. So,
You see what I have to deal with the moment I get up to get my peanuts? We get off the damn highway. Now I got to sit back down.
Now headed, what looks to be on surface streets back in
Surface streets.
the harbor gateway.
I got up for, guys, I got up for 2 seconds. Do you see what my life is like? I go to the beach for 2 seconds, police chase. I get up from my chair after being on the highway for 30 minutes. Side streets.
From the first pursuit. So even though CHP's on it, now they'll go ahead and they'll advise, hey, LAPD may just go ahead and jump back on and get their South End divisions on it.
It's the refrigerator's so far, it's on the other side of the apartment. I can't risk it.
CHP will stay right on top of them. And to answer your question, yes, CHP does get a little bit more aggressive, but there was plenty of vehicles.
What is going on here? We're driving around units here on Figueroa and down in the harbor.
Just pursuing it.
If you notice there was a bunch of cones set up, and it was a police.
Hawthorne PD. Yes, Hawthorne PD is crazy aggressive. They have no laws there. Because isn't that the Compton jurisdiction?
Yeah, bowled through, rolled right over.
Hawthorne is always pitting. You rarely see Hawthorne on the media because they're so aggressive in their police chases. They end before media can get there. That's why sparks are coming outside the back, because we keep hitting those speed bumps at 50 plus miles an hour.
Passenger door there.
Yeah, and that was definitely hard to tell. We actually couldn't even see it based on the perspective of when he initially.
Compton could definitely be a safe haven. The great Compton chase of 2016, we saw what could happen if you build enough clout there. They start coming on the street, and then the cops can't get in.
Where we all started in the sense of the type of pursuit. Now we've slowed down.
I have my snack, but I want my seltzer. Wrong side of the road. I'm losing my voice.
More cars on the road. You're narrowly avoiding it left and right, and you hope that there aren't people going back to what Leslie called it earlier, a spectacle. And that was on the initial pursuit. Now we're in a much more dangerous situation. Not that the first one certainly wasn't dangerous, it was. But now,
Quick side note, chocolate covered almonds. One will last you 5 minutes because you just suck it like it's like a piece of candy or something. You don't chew. Whoa, what's going on here?
Difficult to keep an eye out, but police.
That's an overpass. Are we trying to ditch?
The entire time as they go under the bridge.
Yeah,
They were thinking about doing something. Overpasses make people do what?
White car.
Pulled over.
Stop. We're not seeing anyone open any doors yet, but you can imagine that CH.
Thank God we didn't pull over under the damn overpass.
And it looks like
And we go. Okay.
Wrong decision to once again take off. So we were really hoping that they would get out of the car and just give up, right, Dave?
Yes, and
See, I would have gotten up to get my seltzer.
We've seen them before where they go under a bridge.
I would have gotten up.
I
would have missed that.
They run, they go high on the side of the freeway. But since we had black and whites right on top of them, they moved forward.
They'd hit them with a little hezzy.
Blew their whole,
Take my shoes off.
On how to get away. Because now we're not driving as fast, and we have multiple black and whites behind them, all of them code 3. So it looks like this has changed a little bit now, the dynamics of this.
Yeah, and this is where we picked up, right around the area, the same area where we picked up this
right? Didn't the black Dodge Charger do that? That little hezzy before setting up the first Paul Walker challenge?
HP vehicles still pursuing this. We've talked about maybe LAPD once again getting in the mix. We haven't seen that happen. Moments ago, we all watched the vehicle come to a stop here. but no one got out. No one opened the doors. We know at least 2 suspects are inside. Our original driver, our original suspect, and the person who is now driving this white car here. But just quite amazing as we watched this suspect drive around an entire checkpoint.
Yes, a DUI checkpoint just blowing right on through it. That's
What was that? What that was?
And
I thought there was construction or something. Just blew through a DUI checkpoint. Add that to his list of charges.
Where it just goes back to that obvious concern of people, of other vehicles in the area, and you wondered, you thought that right when you got under that bridge and it stopped, not just for a second, but a good few seconds, and maybe that was going to be the end of it, but no, we're still going Southeast LA right now, and it's.
Yeah, Smelly, you're invested. There's no going to bed. Doesn't matter what you have to do tomorrow until you see the end of this chase.
They have to know that this isn't going.
You don't choose the police chase life; it chooses you.
Besides, that vehicle comes to a stop.
You should be so lucky.
They will be put under arrest, as you notice, four CHP vehicles hovering behind them.
What's going on with this camera angle? I'm not liking it.
I really think that
Not liking this LAX airspace problem.
Just take off. That didn't work, and if you notice, they're driving slow. So I think they're trying to put a plan together, but it's really changed now. So I think they're really worried, or maybe even trying to.
We're losing the chase here.
Who knows?
Yeah, and
But,
Dave, I think
sure hope so.
we're watching LAPD possibly now take over this pursuit. It looked like one of the CHP patrol cars got out of line there as what looks to be like possibly an LAPD SUV there, now second in line. So we're going to see what happens here. This is in LAX airspace, which is why we're so far away from that pursuit.
Fucking LAX.
But we're gonna
It's
stick
always
with it
LAX.
as much as we can as they continue to head down South Main Street here.
And of course, this is something that, even if we do have to pull away, just because of the dynamics of the situation, we'll keep you posted on what's going on, because as is evident, and as will continue to be evident, police, whether it's CHP or whether it's LAPD taking this back over, they are not going to lose sight of this vehicle, because it has now shifted back into what we saw on that initial pursuit, which with the black Lexus that we were keeping an eye on, which was just managing to go between 30-40 miles per hour. It's hard to tell right now whether they are really slowing down to an end.
It feels like very slow speeds right now.
We're getting closer and closer. At least these patrol cars are getting closer and closer. Oh boy, it is so hard to tell. But you
Come on, K-Cal, get around.
This could be it. But regardless, there's still a lot of questions to be answered. On top of the fact that is the big concern with the initial driver, the initial chase and
Look
pursuit.
how close that patrol car is getting to our suspect's car. It looks like they're coming.
Are they setting up for a pit?
They're going to do a pit here.
Yeah.
Yes, they are.
They're setting up for a pit, but there's vehicles ahead.
Right, they're moving the car to the left. It's hard to make out.
They probably didn't pit because of those citizens that were ahead of them. You can't be pitting. Look awfully close.
Vehicle. So if you notice that the initiating unit pulled to the right and let this unit go ahead, and I think that's what that's about. I think it's that hey, we have a pit vehicle, we're pit qualified, we can get
The intersection.
Just negotiate a pit maneuver.
Yeah, that suspect now turning there on East 75th Street. And we're going to try to stick with this. Again,
It's all right.
a
We'll
reminder that we are in
try and make a
LA.
switch here in a second, unless they start coming back towards the helicopter.
Sky Cal to maneuver through this area.
It's not as easy to change the channel as you think. Hold on.
Planes. But if this is an indication of how quickly we're now following, it seems like that suspect started to pick up speed.
Okay. Got ABC. Might be setting up a pit. That is pit position. Oh no. Look at you, all you people in the chat. Go to ABC. Go to ABC. Go to ABC. And then you see the grundle of the helicopter.
Suspects, the driver and the initial and the
That's why you don't listen to the chat.
driver in this pursuit.
Go to ABC as the best shot. Yeah, the best shot of the fucking crotch of the helicopter.
At least it feels like it is, but notice.
And now because KCal's in the position and it's headed back towards the helicopter, here, that's why you stay with it as we swerve around the red light there.
Again, on top of the cars that are parked.
This labyrinth of roads here in southeast Los Angeles in the Compton area. ABC, go to ABC, ABC. Chat just fucking won't stop saying that. Nobody knows. Stop listening to these people.
Oh, the suspect just
What just
crashed
happened?
into,
We wrecked.
another vehicle there head on. We can't make
Ah!
this happen.
Ejectocito!
Through the
Running.
gas
You're
station.
seeing an officer chase
Two,
the
perhaps.
suspect.
Ejectocito after a crash. They're chasing him down on foot.
It looks like that suspect just took off. We don't know where they went, but I did notice, even though it's hard to see,
Yeah.
that the suspect did crash head on with another vehicle. I believe it was at slower speed, but you have to wonder how that other person is doing there. We saw at least one person, we believe it might have been a suspect, take off there, and officers were right on it.
My guess is right. Those were CHP officers that were in foot pursuit of that suspect. I believe that was the driver of the vehicle because that didn't match the description that I had of the.
Good job, driver.
suspect from the,
What?
the
What?
pursuit.
Why are we driving?
So they were both on.
Are they still on foot? Why?
We'll see.
Lexus, the CHP.
Okay, we're with NBC now.
Down the 710 and then up the 405, up the 110. And then through southeast LA. CHP officer opening up driver's side door now.
So there's a wreck here.
Looks like that.
Why are all the cops driving away? Like they're going after another car. That doesn't look like the Dodge Charger that we were chasing. That looks like an accident that was caused by that right-hand turn. And the airbags are deployed. Someone's in cuffs?
Now the pursuit might actually still be going.
What?
It looks like possibly
Back in pursuit, perhaps.
back in
It looks
pursuit.
like
Back in pursuit? Why is someone in cuffs?
questions as to what was going on because.
Okay, was that the driver? That looked like the waddler. That looked like the waddler from the black Dodge Charger that ran into the back seat.
Based on what we're seeing.
He may have bailed. He may have foot bailed and ejectocitoed after the crash. And now the guy that's driving the vehicle is driving away. And that's why we saw all the cops chasing, getting back in their vehicles and continuing the pursuit. So he causes a crash, and then drives away from it. And now he's on his own chase.
Another vehicle.
ABC back on top of it. Somewhat decent view here as we continue to battle LAX airspace. That's why all these helicopters are having trouble staying with it, but they're in different areas with different angles. It looks like ABC is north of the flight restriction airspace. KCal is south of it, and NBC might be northwest of it. We're still going.
Manchester and Wall.
NBC on top of it.
We didn't
110
see this,
southbound.
The moments leading up to it, they've been caused by this GTA pursuit involving the White House.
Oh my God, we are still live.
The 110 freeway.
Some damage to the front left, it appears. It's hard to tell. Okay, do you guys want me to go to ABC now?
Started with,
NBC doesn't have good quality? Come on. We're on top of this shit. Flight restrictions. Restricted airspace makes it quite difficult for all of these networks to stay on top of it simultaneously. But good news for us that they are scattered throughout the air with different angles. So if you were to make a U-turn and go back, KCal could be in better position. We're at the NBC for now, 110 southbound, approaching Century Boulevard. Close to a 5-star chase. The only way we put a 5th star up there is if we get a Bearcat involved or SWAT. It would take like shooting out the window to get a fifth star without any of those two
And
variables.
this really just goes to
Tanks
show
is 6-star.
how quickly these critical
So there was a crash that occurred Original suspect, ejectocito. Original suspect in cuffs. We saw on that ABC angle.
Exactly what happened.
We saw in the ABC feed, someone was being put in the back of a cruiser. But then we saw the cruisers, the other cruisers, as a part of that armada, take off following the car that was driving away that we couldn't see.
When they switched from the black Lexus. And then
So the car may have come to a stop during the crash or was trying to navigate around it. And then this one that picked up his buddy took off.
Who was involved in that crash and what exactly led up to it?
There was not a different chase, people. There's so much fake news in this chat right now. Doing my best to give you the facts over here.
Okay, eastbound 105 now.
105. Not west. If we were going westbound, that would end almost instantly. Takes you towards LAX. That would have been the worst highway possible. 105 westbound takes you towards like Imperial, Sepulveda, and all sorts of flight restriction airspace for helicopters. Stop reading the chat. Driving me crazy. Stop believing the chat.
Got it, let me check. Hey, so how are we doing on fuel?
Oh no, not fuel.
Okay.
NBC was second in the air, so we should have enough left, unless they were up already. Still too scared to go get a seltzer. Yeah, 105 will take us towards Downey. I think it goes south of Downey. I am not getting that seltzer until we have a resolution. There's an army of LAPD and CHP in pursuit here. We lost Julia. She's on a different frequency. The Waddler. I love the Waddler. No, I think it was hard to tell, but it sure looked like the Waddler. I could tell by the ankles, the high white socks. I mean, there's always potential, too, that they switched. The driver got out and ran, and then he took over the car again. That's, of course, all right, Julia's back with us.
And if you are streaming with us on NBC, we're back now. Sorry about the silence there. Just trying to figure out some housekeeping upstairs. But this pursuit now, we're eastbound on the 105.
Look at that bird down there. Let's see. That's a clear view of it.
And ground units in hot pursuit. Look at this.
Look at that, man. That is LA in a nutshell. 1, 2, 3 units plus the airship hovering. That's more than 3 units. 6 units. 7 units.
This has been going on for so long in 2 cars now that we're trying to figure out what we're going to do if we run.
Almost at Downey. All roads lead to Downey.
This is still going. Slower speeds than earlier. It was going down to 710. Speeds exceeding 120 miles earlier.
Such a smooth ride for that LAPD airship. They get to fly lower too. Now Grand Theft Auto is the want here.
Des, go ahead.
That's a little worse than alleged stolen vehicle. That's a 4-star pursuit.
Okay, thank you. Some interesting new information here. We sent a ground crew from our station to check out where the first car in this pursuit was ditched. The black Lexus that you saw.
Black Dodge Charger.
LAPD.
Yeah, I think that front right tire is down.
And there was nobody there. There was nobody else in that car. So It looks like we were right.
That front right does look a little wobbly.
When we guessed there was only one occupant in that car, just the driver, who, again, LAPD does.
It probably came off during the crash.
armed. And as we get a clear
We didn't
look
see,
at the
we didn't have an
passenger
angle that was
side
close to
of this
that had the crash. Whoa! Whoa!
look at that.
We blew the Katy Perry challenge! Sparks everywhere coming out of the left side!
Sparks.
Oh no, we're gonna have a fire! Ah, we're going for a pit maneuver on the freeway! On the freeway, on the 105!
Pit maneuver on eastbound
We just saw a pit maneuver on the 105!
like this chase has.
Oh, and it ripped a bumper off the back! Is the engine stalled?
On the eastbound 105, this white Lexus, car number 2.
Oh, we just saw a pit on the freeway! During a Katy Perry challenge, guns are out. Engine looks stalled. Might have blown a front left or a that front right. May have changed the aerodynamics of the front. We started dragging the axle on the freeway.
Hanging off now, and there
Doors open,
on the passenger
or windows
side
open.
of this car,
Hands are out.
likely from that earlier crash that we saw on surface streets. Before
Yeah,
the
it
car
messed
came
up
out again and
messed
went
up the aerodynamics of that Dodge Charger. Probably blew a front left. Doors open.
The 105. Driver's side door opening.
Is that the Waddler?
This is over.
Wait, that's the Waddler.
Tossing something.
That's that's the Waddler. They definitely switched. When they came out through the overpass, I think they switched. When they did that hezzy, and they parked for a second, I think they switched. And then his buddy ejecto-cetoed.
Hands in the air. This driver.
That's the Waddler. The jean shorts with the high white socks and the Skechers. Either Skechers or Monarchs. That's the Waddler.
This grand theft auto suspect.
About to be code 4. Get your 4s ready. Down on his knees. Anything can happen. We are code 4. Unbelievable. Well, technically not code 8, unless there's someone else in the vehicle. Sorry, I redact my code 4. They need to clear the vehicle first. But the Waddler is under arrest.
Passenger side door opening.
Ah, we're not code 4, I told you. Sorry, premature code 4. I hate when that happens. Hey, we can have a clown car. Hands are up. Is this Mike Ehrmantraut? I mean, what on earth is going on here?
One man climbing out of the back seat. This white.
I can't believe we saw a pit on the freeway after the front left went down, sending sparks into the sky, and they authorized a pit on the freeway.
Hands backing up toward officers who have them at gunpoint. Two people now from this Lexus being taken into custody.
Okay, I'm not going to do a premature code 4 again. We're going to wait till they clear the vehicle, and then we'll do code 4. No Doge. No Doge units. See? You people almost made me go get my seltzer, and I would have missed it. That's why I'd rather sound like this and have no seltzer than miss a pit on the freeway after a Katy Perry challenge. Meatman says 2 cars, 3 perpetrators, 1 Katy Perry challenge, 1 Paul Walker challenge, 0 of 6 on spike strip attempts. What a chase. That chase had everything but fur missiles.
2 hours later as we watch the end.
Is there another? There's another. It's a clown car. So how many people got out and ejectocitoed
Successful
during the crash? One or two? How many people are in this thing?
105 freeway. We're still trying to piece
One more and it's a clown car.
what happened, but based on eyewitness accounts, it sounds like there was no carjacking on this.
How many clowns are in here? Are they just going to keep pouring out of the trunk?
Driving this white car was called to that parking lot, that Walgreens parking lot in Southgate, by the driver of the black Lexus.
There's no way there's more people in this
He was
car.
just scooped up,
There's no way there's another person in this car.
carried on as a passenger. Third person now being taken into custody from this Lexus.
We're still not code 4. They've got guns pointed at the vehicle. I'm telling you, every chase is different. They haven't thrown up code 4 yet. There's the Waddler. Oh no, that's Mike Urbanshot. There's no way there's another person in this vehicle.
To recap, nearly 2 hours later,
They would have had to be in the trunk.
2 law enforcement agencies, 2 pursuit vehicles, 3 people being taken into custody. 1 crash.
There's another chase?
2 other vehicles.
There's another chase? Get this busted off the screen. There's another chase? How did they get there so fast?
On a total of 4 freeways.
Okay, we're code 4 here. Okay, now you can drop your 4s in the chat. Chases? Breed? Chases! What did I tell you? Ah, there's another chase! It's live! I gotta get there. Hold on, people. Hold on. We're live. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. I can't get my Salter. Load. I don't want to watch the Olympics. I want to watch a chase. Is it over? Looks like it might be over. Let's see. I think this might be over. The way that it's moving. Yeah, the way that this is moving. That's it. I think it's over.
Justin Timberlake's license.
That wasn't really a chase. It was a chase for like 2 seconds. What a night. That was another chase. And it was right there. It was nearby. It was right next to where that chase ended. Chases breed chases. That's crazy how fast that happened. That chase ends. Another one just off the highway. They get to it, and then I guess it ended within seconds. But wow, that would have been. Imagine there was another one that went that long. It's only 10:17. They still have an hour and a half. The fuel would have been an issue. Fuel would have been an issue for all of these helicopters that have been in the air with this chase for the past 2 hours now, at least almost 2 hours. Yeah. Paul Walker, Katy Perry, Labyrinth, Justin Timberlake chase. No, that's the Waddler chase. That's if we're naming a chase, that's the Waddler chase. Wow, I'm sweating. Man, am I glad I ran back. Sometimes I get mad because I run back from the beach to cover a chase, and then the chase ends in 2 seconds, and I just ruined my whole day because I had to run back from the beach. But when I run back and it's worth it, that's different. That is a good chase night. The Waddler chase. I waddled my ass back. I have earned a chocolate covered almond. Yes, I live close enough to the beach. I can run to the beach and back. That's my point. I was able to get back here. I mean, I told you I can't run 10 minutes without getting tired. It's way about that. All right, chat. Anything else before we go? Still 2,000 of you in here. Any questions about the chase? Well, what's the chat complaining about now? Chat's always complaining about something. The chat is almost always wrong, too. What was the final arrest count? Okay, so that's a good question. Before the stream went live, there was an ejectocito with the Waddler driving the original vehicle. So someone got arrested there. Then they did the Paul Walker challenge, and there was 1, 2, 3, so 4 more got arrested. After the crash, I don't have a replay of the crash. I don't think any of the helicopters were in a position because that was in the middle of the restricted airspace. During the crash, there was 4 total clowns in the car. 1 got out and ran. Then the Waddler took over. The white Dodge Charger, and then 3 got arrested there. Wait, let me see. That pit maneuver is crazy. We saw a pit maneuver on the highway, by the way. Trying to see if there was any footage from that second chase. Oh, yeah. You guys want to see the second chase? It's 30 seconds long. I'll grab it. Hold on. Give me a second. Get the video. Okay, I got it. No audio. Bear with me, I gotta frame it. Okay. I think that's good. Yeah, okay. Here we go. 30 seconds. Oh! Oh, shit! Did we go drive into... Hold on a sec, I gotta see that again. Did we drive into a wall? White Dodge Charger. Blows through a stop sign. Hard right turn. That's like a wall. We drove over a tree into either a rock bed, maybe some train tracks. Holy shit, he was out of there fast. And then ejectocito. And he's just gone. Whoa, he's running this fast that the camera's doing this shit? One more time. Damn, if this guy would have just not wrecked on this turn, we could have gotten a real chase. He overcooked that corner so badly. Either train tracks or... And he's already across the street and gone. That dude might be out of here. This guy might have gotten away. I don't see any cops anywhere close. They're just pulling up on him there. That's it. That was the chase. That's when we joined. When they were starting to pan the camera back up towards Huntington Park. That guy was fast as shit. Oh my God. He was inspired by Noah Lyles earlier today. Whew. Where were we? Did I forget anything? I'm losing my voice again. Have I seen Into the Night on Netflix? Follows real LA nightcrawlers. No, I've seen the movie Nightcrawler, but I need to check that out apparently. Huntington Park is a labyrinth. Let's discuss the online YouTube slot community. What? What is that you tweeted about? Discuss the... I think you're on the wrong account. I haven't tweeted in like 3 days. I need seltzer. If you ever want to see if someone is from the West Coast, wait, what was that? From the West Coast or not, have them pronounce Huntington Park. What? Huntington? NBA plans, you'll find out soon. NBC is saying they laid spike strips out on the 105 for the white car. Oh! That would explain why the tires went down. So they hit them with spikes on the 105? Are they live right now talking about it with follow-up? Is the news on right now? Last sentence of the article. Oh, okay. Oh, here we go. Let's read. Damn it. It's a problem with display capture. Okay, here we go. The driver of a possibly stolen vehicle led police on a high-speed chase through South Los Angeles Sunday evening. LAPD's Newton Division initiated the pursuit, following the driver through surface streets at relatively normal speeds. The driver pulled into the Walgreens parking lot located at the 1500 block of East Gage Avenue. There, the driver was seen exiting the black Lexus in a white Lexus. The driver then picked up speed, reaching speeds of over 80 miles an hour. Driver made it on the highway, where the chase was handed over to CHP. Several police vehicles were... A spike strip was laid out on the east lanes of the 105 freeway in the Norwalk area. No, it was a Dodge Charger, not a Lexus. Spike strips was laid out on the east lanes of the 105 freeway in the Norwalk area. The vehicle's tires were damaged by the spike strip, and CHP were able to perform a pit maneuver. Wow. So that would explain why the chat, you were correct tonight. I have to acknowledge when you're actually correct. That the front right did look down, didn't it, when we got that zoomed in angle from NBC? And the explanation is they dropped spike strips on the freeway. They had spent the last hour trying to spike strip this car down in Southgate unsuccessfully, but they got him. They got him on the 105. And that they had units out there prepared, ready to go, because he was headed back towards Southgate. And I imagine they coordinated. If he goes 105, we got someone ready. If he goes 710, we got someone ready. 405 would be hard for me to believe because the 405 is just too big of a freeway. So they ended up going 1 of 7 from the field. Yeah, they went 1 of 7 from the field, but the one that they made was the game winner. No one's going to talk about those 6 misses. But spike strips, that's what caused the Katy Perry challenge. Low profile tires on that Dodge Charger. Those are not run flats. You have about, usually it's 5 to 10 minutes on normal tires. On those low profiles, it's almost instant that they go down, and go down did it ever. As we saw sparks flying out of there. And with a car that's that low, when the tire goes down, it changes the aerodynamics. So then the grill in the front, the axles, it starts tilting and it starts dragging, and you're doing 80 miles an hour on the freeway. That causes sparks. L. John Way Casey says, read the chat. That is not a Charger. That what we just watched, not one, but 2 Dodge Chargers. This is why the chat cannot be trusted. That is not a Lexus. That was Dodge Charger. See? Look at the rest of the chat, bro. That was Dodge Charger. You don't know cars. Sorry, little John. That was a Dodge Charger. It went from a black Dodge Charger to a white Dodge Charger. See, Cobra Cola knows. Fur 51 knows. Buffalo Sports Center knows. You're the only one that says that wasn't a Dodge Charger. Yeah, that's what happens when we have too many people. Why are there still 1,200 people in this chat right now? We have outsiders that don't know cars. You guys have just witnessed a Dodge Charger chase, so don't listen to NBC or the chat. Stick to airports, John Wayne. Chat wants me to go get my seltzer. I'm starting to lose my voice. I wish we had Skip here too. Doodles. Skip E. Doodles. His middle initial is E. Last name's Doodles. Skip E. Doodles. They want the name to be Paul Wadler Challenge. All right. I'll allow it, chat. I'll allow it. But yeah, spike strip. I'll put that at the top of the screen. Spike strip was laid out. Is there a replay of the crash? As a matter of fact, there is. Would you like to see it? Oh, of the crash. No, I have the pit maneuver, though. Do you guys want to see the pit maneuver? Let's see. Yeah, no crash. Just the pit. Okay, here we go. I got it. All right. See? That's a Dodge Charger all day. There's another Dodge Charger, white Dodge Charger on the side of the road. John Wayne, you see that one? Front right, it was not a shadow thing. The front right definitely got the spike strips too. There come the sparks. Holy crap. Night sun blasting above. Look at the size of that night sun. Sparks, we were coming up to an interchange right there too. I believe that's a 405 interchange. Maybe a 110. Downey Norwalk. Of course this happens in Downey Norwalk. Coming out of Linwood. Perfect pit. That is a perfect pit. See the cage on the front of that cruiser? Re-rack it real quick. See the cage on the front of that? While the state of California doesn't have the grappling hooks that Arizona does, they do have pit certified cruisers with a cage in front. See how it's kind of got that little hook over there? He gets that thing into the back right quarter panel, goes right into the back tire, hooks the vehicle, drives through, the hook releases, the bumper rips off. I wish I can show you which. I'm going to get a good view of it, and I'm going to zoom in. Because the way that this cage is designed in the front, like, see how that shit's sticking out right here? See how the cage extends and it's not built into the front fender, the front bumper? Because he's going to take this that I'm circling with the arrow, he's going to jam it into the back right quarter panel right above that Dodge Charger's tire up here. So when he does that, it essentially stabs like a needle, it hooks, and then when he drives through, it'll rip the bumper off with it. Just jams it in there. Watch again. That's perfect pit. That's a 10 out of 10 pit. Rips the bumper off. That means he's got his claws really sunk in there. When you rip the bumper off like that, you've really got that cage stuck. Textbook pit. One more time. With sparks coming out, it was a fireworks show. One more time. Jabs it in there. Might even gotten some tire on that too. Guys, remember that scene from Game of Thrones? The mountain picks up the viper. Gets on top of him, I should say. Squeezes him. That's what happened right there. That was the ESPN detailed segment. Yeah, I'm doing my Tim Legler of police chases. That's a clean pit. When that cage, because not every vehicle nor every vehicle operator is pit certified. So there's certain units that are built, certain vehicles that are built to do just what you just witnessed. And that person got the green light and they said, go ahead, do it on the freeway. That's pretty rare. The average speed is between 30 and 45 miles an hour is when you want to pit. Because if they're going too slow, the engine doesn't stall. If they're going too fast, it's dangerous. So on a freeway where they're doing 60 plus miles an hour, it's a dangerous pit maneuver because they're not trying to kill the driver with a pit maneuver, no matter what they've done. Sometimes they have to go above and beyond, especially if they're being reckless to the innocent civilians. But in this case, there was an open freeway. They didn't have to worry about collateral damage of other like cars in traffic. We've seen Miami-Dade County. They don't give a shit. Those officers, they just plow through everyone and they'll stop you by any means necessary. Here in California, They choose usually not to do that unless it's methamphetamine. That chase would have, you take her down, and the methamphetamine chase, you have to get her off the road under any circumstance. But in this one, they waited until it was open, and even though it was above the speed that's usually approved and recommended, they had an officer that was able to sink his claws into the back right quarter panel and deliver a perfect pit maneuver. Yeah, I haven't seen John Wayne in the chat. I think John Wayne gave up. I think he finally admitted that this is a Dodge Charger. All right. Oh, there's a replay of the crash. Let's get the crash. If you guys will hang with me, I'll get you the crash. Wait a second. Wait a second. There was a second suspect? There's no way. So there was a second chase. There's no way. Hold on, people. So, can anyone confirm this? That there was a second chase? Wait, there was a second chase that caused the crash on the street? That's what the crash came from? I have the video. Hold on. Let's take a look at this and break down the footage. The pursuit of the black vehicle was completely unrelated to the white Lexus pursuit. Both pursuits happened to meet each other like worlds colliding, according to this Twitter account. Let's watch it. Let's investigate for ourselves. How come we didn't hear about a second chase on any of the broadcasts? All right, here it is. So, hold on. That's a second chase. That's a black car. That's a black Dodge Charger. Is that not? This is a different chase. And then the chase above had a hard left-hand turn. And here comes the crash. That's a black Dodge Charger. Oh! Oh, my God. What the fuck? Wait a second. That's a black Dodge Charger. Goes head on with the white Dodge Charger. And this person gets out ejectocitos and runs. And then he goes running. They eventually arrested him because we saw him being taken back to the cruiser in cuffs. This was a completely different chase. And then when they cut to back to the other chase, it was already back on the 101. So this is where the confusion occurred, people. Because NBC was over this one, clearly, as you can see, the black Dodge Charger hitting the white Dodge Charger. And then they go back to ABC, which is following the chase automatically a second later on the 101. So that's why everyone in the chat, there's different chase. You're behind. No, this was a different chase. We were not behind. We were watching the end of a second chase that I think was occurring simultaneously. Let's run it back. Right here, guys. So you see two waves of the one in the front separated is the black Dodge Charger. The one in front right here, that's the black Dodge Charger. This is one chase. Here's the white Dodge Charger from the chase we were watching for 2 hours with his own armada of officers behind him. Over here, he's going to make a left-hand turn very sharply coming up. Watch. And he disappears from the screen. He's out of here. Whoop. Okay. Left-hand turn headed to the 101. Now this black Dodge Charger is about to make a right-hand turn and get into a head-on collision. That was the reason so some of the helicopters were staying with the original chase, and then KCAL and NBC were down here with the wreck, and you see him run through. You see him run through the gas station. That explains everything. Wow. I don't know how NBC was able to get back to the 101 so quickly. Because Julia Dang was over the ending of this chase while the other Dodge Charger had made a left-hand turn and was headed to the 101. I think ABC was the only one that followed the original chase until Julia got back over it. Yeah, the people in the white Dodge Charger were probably confused as hell. Like, who's this other person in front of us on a police chase? Why are there cops in front of us chasing another car? Am I right? Do I have this right? Okay. The one on the left peels away. There's a black Dodge Charger. Pow. It's always something new, isn't it, man? It's always something new. He got out and bailed. Let's watch the tape one more time to make sure we didn't miss anything. Chat's saying that he drives back through. He drives back through this area. All right, let's keep it running. Oh, that's him! No fucking way! And he drives back through the wreck. He drives back there. There he is right there. And there he goes. The stars align that he found himself. That's how they were able to follow the original chase so quickly. He went back through the wreck area. No way. How did he find his way down here? So he made a left. Then he probably made a right, went down some other street, made a right to come back towards this busy intersection on Manchester. That's crazy. Man, this is why you go back and you watch the tape. How the hell were we supposed to know what was going on live? We hardly could even see the crash. How do we know there was a second chase going on? Did anybody? Because we all assumed that he got in a wreck here. At the time, I did. Yeah, he could have very well just gotten himself pinned going around those the wreck right here because these cops are dealing with their own chase. Wow. That's fucking crazy. I don't know how anyone would have known that this was a different chase at the time because I didn't hear it on the broadcast. Unless someone was listening to a scanner or something. I didn't hear it on KCAL. So this is breaking news. It's the same group. No, it's different color. It's black. This is right here. This is the one that got in the wreck. It's black. I might need to do a law investigation to break this down. But I think this video does a pretty good job of it, doing self-explanatory. Is that the same? There was a good conspiracy theory. Is that the same black Charger that got ditched? Is that the one that got ditched by the Waddler? Shit. That's real chaseception. All right. Well, this Twitter account King Wolf put this video together. King Wolf. I'll quote I'll quote tweet it in a little bit, but that's as wild of a chase as we've seen in a minute. At least in terms of different plot twists. Not necessarily a big wreck at the end, but this one had a wreck too. It had 7 spike strip attempts, Katy Perry, Paul Walker challenge, pit maneuver. I mean, and then another chase happening simultaneously in front of it. And the clown car. And the Nightcrawler drone. Man. Oh, the angry mom on the side of the street. That too. You know what? If there's not going to be a chase for a couple weeks, when it comes back, it better be this good. All that wasn't there was a fur missile. I have earned another chocolate-covered almond after I have my seltzer. I think this is a good point to stop the chase, stop the stream, and sign off. I think we've covered it all. We finally got the real explanation. We got the explanation for the Katy Perry challenge on the 105. On the 105, that ended the first chase. We got the explanation for the crash was another chase and why there was an ejectocito in it. There were 2 chases because I did the double. I'm doing the double boogity from now on. If that means that we're going to get 2 chases in one. Because when I thought there was a separate chase going on, there was, but it was because they did a Paul Walker challenge and ABC stream was ahead of me. So it looked like there were 2 chases going on. Little did we know that they would be switching cars. I promise there's seltzer. I promise there's seltzer. Do I have to prove that I have seltzer? I can do that before we go. You see how long that took, by the way? If I would have done that shit when we were on the 105, I would have missed everything. This is Sprite without the sugar. Why would you ever drink Sprite when you could just drink lime flavored seltzer? Tastes the same exact thing. Oh, I needed that. It feels so good on the throat. See, it has like no chemicals in it. 0 sugar. 10 milligrams of sodium. It's even got potassium in there. It's good for you. It's healthy. No chemicals, no sugar, no processed bullshit. Just water, lime flavored water. Okay. Someone asked, were you ashamed for us to meet your seltzer? All right. I'm going to turn this into a VOD so we can watch it back. I'll put the full explanation out on Twitter in just a couple of minutes. But that's going to conclude this chase, which will be known as the Wadler double chase. I don't know. We got to include the fact that there was a second chase involved. Okay. Birdsintheair.com. We got merchandise. Birdsintheair.com. Check it out if you haven't already. If you'd like to support the stream. We have notifications on Twitter at Skywob Alerts. If you're not already following Skywob Alerts, sometimes the Twitch notifications do not go through correctly. This you will need as a backup. Just turn on notifications. The only tweets that come from there, Skywob notifications. Skywob Alerts.